Welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. Oh crap. I'm gonna have to refer to my notes. I'm getting old, folks. Sorry, that's not my quote. Popeye said it best. I am what I am. I don't know. That just made me laugh.
That's right. I do remember that
Popeye.
part.
One, I've seen a lot of Popeye cartoons. I don't remember that quote. I am what I am, Olive. I don't remember that, but maybe he did say it. I don't know. We got Jordan Christensen on the podcast.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. And we've got Cameron Mickle on the podcast.
Forbid empathy. Empathy is weakness. Weakness is vulnerability.
That's
I
right, that should
love
be our
I
mantra.
love sociopaths.
Okay. I wish I could take credit for this joke, but I'm going to drop this joke. Okay. This is the one I read on Letterboxd. It was like, out of all the Smiths fans, the killer is still the least sociopathic.
That's pretty good.
I love it. I made me think of 500 Days of Summer watching this movie.
Mm-hmm.
They ended on the other song or whatever, but anyway, the Smiths, man, they're a depressing band. Their music's depressing. What is it about emo people, like hipster people liking sad music? Okay, guys, today we're talking The Killer, David Fincher's 2023 crime, mystery, drama, thriller, action. I don't know what to call this. It's everything. It's
Michael Fassbender, Tilda Swinton.
It's got a few other recognizable faces in there. I'm just pulling up my IMDb.
Those were the only two.
Those were the only two. I don't know. I like Charles Parnell. I recognize him from
Who is it
something.
directed by?
David Fincher.
I think he said
right?
David Fincher,
yeah. Golly gee whiz, guys. This movie. How about this movie, huh? What'd you guys think of this movie? Let's start with you, Jordan. What was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
So I drove down. Me and Cameron were going to see it in the theater, and then I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, it's on Netflix." I was like, "Okay, I guess we're not going to the theater."
Saved myself $10. Yeah.
Well, I read it somewhere. I thought it said it was going to be in theaters, but I guess we missed that day. It was like a month ago or something.
I think it was only in select theaters.
Yeah, for a certain amount of time. But I totally would have saw it in theaters because I am very much, as Martin Scorsese, said at the beginning of Killers of the Flower Moon, like, go to your theaters. Like, I totally support good directors and I will see their movies in theaters. However, we missed it. I am glad I still saw it with Cameron because it was a blast. And Cameron and I kind of did like a Fincher-a-thon. We didn't watch every single one of his movies, but we did watch the ones that Cameron hadn't seen yet, which was really fun because we're going to rank his movies. So you can stick around and hear us rank them, which was very fun because Cameron had seen most of his best ones, but I was willing to watch some of his less.
I scraped the barrel of what was left.
But because he has so many good ones, and like I love doing Fincher-a-thons. I usually do double features. As soon as I watch one, I'm like, oh, I got to watch another one. It's so good. So I loved this movie. I might still think it's perfect, but I want to rewatch it before I like say that, because I'm like, oh man, there's nothing wrong. I wouldn't change a thing about it. And it was so fun to see because I just watched Mank, and I was like, oh no, like I hope this isn't the trajectory of your movies.
You've lost your edge, man.
Because he's so good with Cameron mentioned it, like serial killer stuff. Did you mention that at the beginning, or was that at your review? Oh, it's going to be at the end. Okay, well, Cameron's going to mention.
This conversation took place like the way Christopher Nolan directs his films, guys.
Yeah, our editing.
Conversations layered on top of each other.
You'll eventually hear Cameron talk about how much he loves serial killers and how much David Fincher kind of revels in that world.
That's getting trippy, Jordan. You are going to hear. Don't put words in his mouth.
Cameron is going to say this in the future.
You're going to hear Cameron likes to wear also.
I saw a thing that was hilarious. I was watching the Honest trailer for Oppenheimer, and it was talking about Robert Oppenheimer, and he said Robert Oppenheimer is the type of guy to watch Tenet and understand it on the first watch.
But seriously, it's like perfect. And this is the kind of world David Fincher just knows so well. I don't know if he is crazy or something, but he just really revels in the dark and creepy, and he makes you feel crazy. It's so good. That's it.
Great, Cameron. How about you, man? Watching this movie for the first time.
I mean, yeah,
Watching.
like Jordan mentioned, and like I will mention, yeah, I think David Fincher's best genre has always been like dealing anything with because I think he's a master at because you guys mentioned a lot about like show don't tell with him. He's so good at that with serial killers, which I think is really important because so much of like I think the allure for me with serial killers is how much show don't tell it is, and how much you're trying to figure out about the psyche of the person, and how like their actions are because of like past experiences or things like that. And so like a lot of the inferences, that's what made Mindhunter so interesting for me. Was trying to figure out, it's like, oh, this person's doing this maybe because this, and it's like maybe if I provoke him doing this. And so I love him working with serial killers or sociopaths. I think he just has a really good like niche understanding of kind of the mind and how to portray that. So watching it was really fun. It was really interesting to show like, because it's not technically a serial killer, or even, I mean, it's borderline sociopath because he is just like a mercenary who is definitely has sociopath like tendencies. But it's interesting how you notice that he's still like very human, where that's why I love, like, that was why it was my quote. I love his beginning, like trying to like block out that empathy, because he knows that like once you block out empathy, that does make you like borderline like invincible, because like it gets rid of a lot of the ties or things that would quote unquote make you weak.
But I'm gonna challenge you on that, Cameron. Well,
What
wait.
does do his
I guess
friendships
no.
and
Sorry. I
connections
guess
make
you're
him
not.
strong? No.
But no. I was just gonna make a like. I think he fails at doing that though. But I guess that's the point, right? He does have empathy because he goes on a whole revenge quest. That's
I think,
contrary to his rule, right? It's a very
yeah,
interesting movie. So, but anyway, I just realized that you weren't necessarily saying that he doesn't or you, sorry, because I misunderstood what you were saying. Like he's an interesting character because he doesn't have empathy. You're saying he does have empathy, and that's what makes him interesting because he's trying to block that part out.
Yeah,
So maybe
because
that's
he has like sociopathic
right,
tendencies, but then you can see
right.
that he still has like that
Still cares,
human
yeah.
attachment that he like, because I mean, even though that girl's like wasn't probably his wife or girlfriend, like obviously it was someone that was important to him, to elicit that response from him to immediately turn violent. It's like, okay, clearly you have feelings towards this person.
well, he has lots of feelings. I was surprised how much he felt, because he was like getting all nervous. Like he was stressing me out. He was just like, everything's got to be perfect. But
Almost paranoid, right?
yeah, yes, he is so
But
paranoid.
I think that's what makes him great too, because like his OCD and his paranoia makes him like, that's why they're like first time he's ever missed, and you're like, oh dang.
But
Like,
I
that's
could
so
see what
depressing.
Ty was saying earlier. When you said sociopath, I'm like, I feel like he's not almost at all. Like, I mean, like, well, because
I think this is his journey out of it, right? I think he
oh,
has lied to himself or something. Sorry, I'm kind of getting into my whole thing
yeah.
about this movie, but yeah, I feel like he is a sociopath starting, but then he realizes he does have a heart, and he goes on this revenge quest to kill the people that
And
hurt
then
his
it's John
girlfriend.
Wick because they killed his
Yeah,
dog,
yeah,
aka his
they hurt his
love interest.
girlfriend, and yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And so he's like, okay, now you all have to die. Yeah, but those movies, I don't care how many times the movie's told, because if it's interesting characters, like I'll watch it. Like it still feels so
This
different
is
from
right up
everything
Ty's
else.
alley.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you say that. So like me watching for this for the first time, I thought of other movies. Like I actually made a joke. I was like, this is like Caliber meets Dexter. And I guess the only reason I thought that initially when the movie started was like watching someone mistakenly shoot somebody. I don't want to spoil Caliber, but I just did. Spoiler alert, everybody. But we reviewed on this podcast
I
already, right?
love when you spoil it and then say spoiler alert.
I know it occurred to me after the fact, but no, because I'm referring, well, and spoiler in this movie too, but at the very beginning, he's preparing for this kill, and you like, oh, he's gonna nail it, but then you think something else will go on. It's literally just like he misses the shot. Like he was
No,
like
he doesn't
waiting.
miss her as she steps in front. He
He misses his target. Yeah,
no,
he's
he
trying
doesn't
to
miss
shoot.
his target. She steps in front of him. He
It's
Doesn't
okay.
hit his target. Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't hit
no,
his target. Yeah,
well, no, but she is like
Jordan.
Yes, we know that his
Yeah,
shot was lined
his
up for
shot
the shot.
was
But if you don't
trying
hit
to
the
hit the
target, that's
guy,
a
but the
miss.
girl
You
gets
don't
in the
say,
way.
I know.
My
got
point
him.
was,
You
Actually, I hit her.
you make it
my
sound
shot
like he
would've
like
got him.
moved a bit or something and it shot
he
sideways.
made a
Like,
mistake. Like, and you
yes.
could argue like he couldn't have seen. He saw the woman there in
He
the
didn't
room. So
miss. It was
yeah,
a direct shot to her leg.
Jordan's like afraid. I'm like, Michael Fassbender, what an awful shot. I don't think I could have made that shot. But my point is, the whole movie, Like the whole first act is him like leading up to the fact that he's gonna make the shot. He's like, I'm disciplined. He's doing yoga by himself. He's paranoid, but he's like very watchful. He's been gearing up to this. He's got good equipment. He's ready. He's zen. And then he just misses the shot. And I was like, I wasn't expecting that. Like I thought like we'd get like 3 or 4 more kills where he's like,
Yeah.
We never see him effectively kill anyone and then he misses the target. He fails to kill the target. I just thought that was an interesting intro to conflict, because we hear him say that he's good and he's preparing and he's in the right headspace, and then he misses it anyway. But let me reemphasize, there's a lot of things in this movie where he's like, oh, he's middle-aged, he had non-smoker, 180 pounds, 3 9-gauge nails in his chest. He should have at least 7 minutes, and then he like dies, and he's like, oh shoot. like he literally was trying to interrogate him longer, and he's like, you don't have much time. I should have more time to ask him questions, and he's like dead already. And he keeps making these mistakes. And my point was like, maybe he's either not as skilled as he led himself to believe, or he's losing his edge and it's time to retire. Like, right. But they don't necessarily mention age as a factor, like, because it's still Michael Fassbender. He's what?
I think it's because he's starting to become human.
Yeah. See, and I like that. I like that reading. So yeah, this movie was a joy to watch. I was a breath of fresh air when I had just watched, what did I watch before this?
The Marvels.
No, but not bad guess. Yeah. The everything else.
Why do you subject yourself to such pain?
No, I don't anymore. I have, because I'm past the point. The stages of grief. I was in denial and also in amusement, but now
That's
I'm like,
right.
this is just sad. It's like,
Wait,
yeah,
did you watch the new Taika Waititi movie?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Because they go through that. He does the same thing, goes through the 5 stages of grief with Michael Fassbender. And he's like, and every time he reacts to it, he's like, the next step.
Yeah. He's like, this isn't happening. See, you're already at step 1. Denial.
That's good.
And he's like, this is, you guys can't do this. He's like, great, you're already on step 2.
Anger. Yeah. That was the best part of that movie. Yeah.
That's funny.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Jordan is just so on the Taika hate train right now.
Yeah,
I am not. It was just, I'm okay. Well, I'm excited to hear Ty's thoughts once he watches it. So
yeah, I do need to see that one. But anyway, so yeah.
And Cameron, it's the majority of people think the same thing. I'm not on a hate boat. You're the one person that actually enjoyed it.
Last Goal
Wins. I didn't even see. I gave it like a solid 6 or 7. It's not like the best thing I've ever seen. But compared to what he can't do,
that's still certified fresh, Cameron.
The fact that he's made some of the movies that like are in my top 100, I'm just disappointed in him, because I'm like, it just felt less intelligent humor. I was just like, come on, like, you're so clever and so good, like, come on.
So Cam, what are your 2 favorite things from The Killer?
I think first thing is I know, I'm sorry, I'm gonna steal it. I think Fassbender's performance is excellent. I think similar to Jobs, or I think it's called Steve Jobs. I think both of those. I think I think he does a great job of, kind of like I talked about, someone who like feels minimal emotions, or at least is trying to portray a character. It's interesting. It's like a person almost trying to play a character that like doesn't have emotions, because they're trying to convince themselves that they don't have emotions, because like I mentioned earlier, they just feel more powerful and more in control when they don't feel those emotions, and so they don't like those because they can't really control them super well. So I think his performance in showing that is really cool. Like Ty mentioned, like kind of some of the mishaps and mistakes. And yet even like some of the piece where he like pushes the wife or the mother down the stairs, like you see like glimpses of
he breaks her neck and then she falls down the stairs.
Yeah, like his version of like sympathy, where it's like he's gonna kill a girl so that she, like, her family gets like insurance money instead of being murdered, like things like that, where I'm like, oh, that's like interesting, his version of like showing a little bit of humanity.
Well,
it's very similar to Joker.
If you're murdered by homicide, I think you still get insurance money. I think it just made it look like she died of natural causes, falling down the stairs, broke her neck falling down the stairs, as opposed to being shot. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Well, no. I think she was worried that her body would just never be discovered, and then they wouldn't get insurance.
Yeah.
Because if you go missing, you can't collect insurance on that.
Yeah.
And he could make her body disappear and never be seen ever again, put it in a vat of acid or something.
Yeah.
I still think, making it, catch me if I'm wrong, does it not seem like you could assume that she fell down the stairs and broke her neck? I mean, I watched the staircase.
Well, exactly. That's why
to
he
the
did it.
table.
That's the point.
That's what
That's the
Cameron's
bottom of
getting at. That's what Cameron's getting at.
That's the whole point.
I guess I forgot about the disappearing part. Then again, I wonder if the insurance is, maybe.
Because
No,
if-
remember the
Other
the
person he put in the trash can.
yeah,
and you can disappear them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just forgot about the anyway, because I was just letting you know I work in insurance, and if you get killed by homicide, you also get payout. So just.
but not if you go missing. If you go missing and never
If
show
you go
up.
missing and rapture, I don't know what happens. You get taken up into heaven, or you go missing. I don't know what happens.
I'm pretty sure you don't, because then people would just say, "Oh, I'm missing. Oh, I came back. I was kidnapped," and then you get all that money still.
Well, they would probably
Or
ask for it back,
just
right?
ask for it back.
Well, yeah,
and send
and
them
you're
to
like, "But that's
collections.
not fair because they were dead." But then we got them back. Anyway,
He was
not what I
pronounced dead
talking
8
about.
times.
My second-
Dude, I
second-
don't ever have to work another day in my life. Cameron, you just figured it out, man. I got a business proposal for you.
my second favorite thing is I love how OCD he is, and that's kind of going along with my same one. But I think that's like a factor I've always found super interesting, because I am OCD, and I've always thought it's so interesting how oftentimes it's really like naturally associated with a lot of like serial killers, or like it's kind of that perfection or whatever, that like perfect order. And that's why I think it's kind of fun. Yes, Ty's just waiting to say that's why you're a serial killer.
No, I think I've made too many of those jokes. I'm afraid I might push you over and irritate you, and you might come and kill me or something. So I'm not gonna make that.
And then I'll
joke.
put
I
you
would
in.
never make that
I'll
joke.
put you in a garbage bin.
That's a
and
good
so-
place for a body, by the way. Never
And so-
thought of it. Never seen.
I know.
it.
I love the guy in the elevator. But you got a body in there?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of clever.
Yeah, and the chick's like, or she laughs. She's like, yeah, I'm like,
Funny
that was a
joke.
natural response. No, but I just think like a great scene of that, because it's like some of my favorite parts also, even in heist movies. Like it reminds me a lot of Ocean's 11, or even like MI1, or I mean just a lot of the Mission Possibles, was like the scene where he's like counting how long it takes from like the so the door closes, and so he's like 1, 2, and so it's just really interesting, so to make it look as natural as possible, and essentially like to be. And I love also how like casual, like his OCD also with how he dresses, because he just looks so forgettable. Like he
Yes.
he looks so
I got my
touristy.
costume from a German tourist.
Yeah, like he looks so it looks like a costume because he's like so touristy and so bland, but it's like it's a costume that you'd be like, oh, that's just a regular person, and you wouldn't pay any attention to like his facial features. You're just like, there was just this tourist, Like there's
Yeah,
nothing
I'd be like, holy
memorable
crap,
about him.
it's Michael Fassbender. Nobody in the world looks like this guy.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh, it's Michael Fassbender. Can I get your autograph? Get out of here.
But like
Trying to disappear into a movie role.
he just does such a great job of like essentially becoming like unspecial, and that's what makes him, I think, a great killer.
Very good, very good. Jordan, how about you? 2 of your favorite things.
Oh, it's hard to pin it on just 2. Probably just the atmosphere, and I know that goes along with every Fincher film, is just creating the perfect atmosphere and just and universe, and just you feel like this has been lived in. And I mean, that's what he basically does, makes them do 100 takes just till they are literally living in that scene. So they just like breaks them down, and it feels like so good and dark. And I'll break you. It's like action. I'm gonna break you.
You're a good actor. Yeah, I will break you.
I just see him behind the camera smiling. Love. Then probably my second thing would just be, I love the pacing of this. I love just the little builds towards things, and just like, oh, what is he gonna do here? Like I love how he uses just the very normal, mundane things, that all the little things in the details. Like obviously Fincher is a crazy stickler for details, so there's a lot of details in this, and I just enjoy it so much, because I'm like, ooh, I wonder what I'm gonna see on a second viewing that I didn't get the first time. I appreciate this movie. It is a work of art. It's beautiful. As I was watching it, I was just like, this is a perfect movie. I just want more of these. I hope Fincher never stops making these kinds of movies.
Very good, very good. So I would say one thing I enjoyed, it made me think a lot of I guess for me, I was actually gonna say, I was like, Michael Fassbender plays a lot of villains because I know just Last Goal Wins, kind of an anti-hero kind of guy, but you're rooting for him, right? Like Bad News Bears, basically.
Oh, yeah,
But
he's not like a
he
villain,
plays
but yeah.
Magneto in the reamped
Which is also
X-Men.
kind of a
It's
more
Good
literally
villain.
the movie's
Yeah.
tie is literally reverse Ted Lasso.
Oh, the
Last
Last
Goal
Goal
Wins.
Wins. I know. No, I literally said it's like last Ted Lasso movie. Yeah, for sure.
But it's reverse Ted Lasso. It's everyone else on the team is Ted Lasso, and then the coach is the team. The coach is just Roy.
Is
Did
that Ted Lasso?
were
Who the
were
heck
you,
is
Oh,
Roy?
you haven't seen any Ted Lasso?
I've seen the first episode.
Oh,
I
oh,
think I
he's
got the
Roy
gist of
Kent.
the show. Got it. Okay. But I really like
were you gonna mention too at all that like I love being inside his head because I just love killers' justifications for things like and them explaining like why they do it,
which
kind of like Dexter.
yeah, to me I didn't because I put that in my notes like it's Caliber meets Dexter. Like
Yeah.
you hear all of his inner workings, but I actually have some thoughts about that too. So one, I think this is probably one of the more accessible Fincher movies. Like I think it's pretty easy to swallow. It's about an hour and 58, but it moves fast. Like
Yes.
the movie feels quick. It does feel like it drags a little bit in the
Hmm.
middle parts, a little bit, but even then I'm like I was like hooked because I was enjoying seeing Fassbender. I liked his performance and
Talking
his
about like his
character.
stuff with the witch from Lion the Witch Road. I always forget her name, bro.
Tilda Swinton.
So this
No,
way.
I didn't mind her. I actually really liked her scene. To me, it was like it was a blend between after leaving the kill, the failed
Oh,
kill.
and him
There's a
going
few good
back
moments where
home.
he's on the moped and he gets away, but then like when he goes back home, sees his girlfriend hurt, goes to the hospital. I'm like, get on with it. Like John Wick literally was like 3 seconds. Like it's like, yeah, got a girlfriend, she's hurt. Get back out there. Like I don't
Get back to the killing.
get
Come
back to the
on.
killing, dude. What are we paying you for, man? So anyway, I'm just saying John Wick literally, and I'm not saying like, oh, John Wick is a better example of it, but I'm just saying like you don't need as much as you think you do. Because he gets back to his home, someone's broken in. I liked him sneaking up to the home, kind of figuring out what happened. But as soon as he
Yeah.
found his
When he
girlfriend,
looked at the footprints and stuff and he
yeah,
realized, oh no, it
all
was
good
cigarette butts. And he was
cigarette butts,
like,
and then
somebody's
the
been
shoe
here.
print, and then he gets up to the house and he realizes it's been broken into. Like all that's really good. And then he finds, her, calls an ambulance and everything. Well done.
Because he's
And then
so
like,
paranoid. I love when he's like looks back and he sees a guy on the plane and he thinks like, could this guy be
yeah,
following me?
yeah,
Like I'm
could this
like,
guy be following me? And then he
yeah.
takes on a new flight, he changes his tickets, all good stuff. Um, so I like that. And there were like subtle things. One thing it reminded me, there was other things that it reminds me of too, like Casino, when Joe Pesci is narrating and he's like in the middle of narrating, he's like, what is going on? And then he gets hit with a bat in the knee and he's like, "Yeah," like he screams in the middle of his narration, which I thought was funny. Because this one, his thoughts are literally interrupted where he walks in and he goes, show no empathy. Otherwise, it leaves room for, and then like the guy barrels into him behind it from, like knocks him off his feet. Okay, so my second favorite thing was the whole action fight scene with our friends. What was he? He wasn't the driver. He was the I think it was one of the guys that beat up his girl.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome fight scene. It was hand to hand. The camera work was super exciting.
Should have killed that dog.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, the freaking
Death.
scariest pit bull, dude. Sounds freaking Cujo, man. Like wakes up with the bullet wound, or the bullets shots being fired. Wakes up, finds his owner dead, and chases him back outside. Oh my gosh.
That was great.
Yeah, I liked it. So there are things that remind me of other movies, but I don't mind if they take, inspiration or even like nods to other things. But sometimes I'm like, would it be more timeless if maybe they left more for us? Because there were parts that I enjoyed, because to me the theme of him becoming more careless because he's letting his empathy cloud his judgment, I think that was good. Because I like one of my favorite scenes is also when he shoots the guy with the nails and he's like, he should be alive for another 7 minutes, and then he like immediately dies and he's like, I didn't get the information I need, shoot. Like it's a great scene. And there was a few other times where he makes a mistake, like even when he walks into the house and he's like, be ready, and then like as soon as he's thinking the thought, he gets tackled from behind. So yeah, like I enjoyed all those aspects of it. So like But yeah, to me it is like you said, Jordan, it's hard to nail down two things, because to me it's like this is actually one of the few David Fincher movies I'm actually really looking forward to watching again.
Yes, me too.
Whereas a lot of them are more punishing. Like this one's actually kind of rewarding. So maybe it's
Not Gone Girl.
yeah, exactly. Like I'll be honest, and it's crazy that we're gonna be ranking Fincher's movies, because I honestly can't say I've ever rewatched a Fincher film.
Really?
Like I
Zodiac.
think
I thought you. I
have.
thought you. I thought you rewatched Zodiac for the pod.
Except
No.
Seven, Zodiac, and The Social Network a million times. So those three movies, but other than that, I can't say I've rewatched. I watched
I
Seven twice. So
I rewatch
technically
his
that was-
movies all the time.
Yeah, see, it's weird because now that I say that, I'm like, I think Killer might be the most rewatchable, because I'm like, I'd show this to a friend, you know, be like, dude, it's a good movie. But and if you like it, go watch his other films. Or
You're
like
just
I
going
would
through all
watch
his
Social
movies. I've
Network a
just
million times.
rewatched this one, and then you've only watched Killer once. I think
I
Killer's
know,
the
right?
most
Well,
rewatchable.
yeah, well,
That's
to
just
be fair,
funny.
yeah, I was gonna rewatch it. I'm just busy right now, but with work. But I
Yeah,
will be rewatching this with
me too.
my friends. I want them to watch this. I'll be like, dude, this is a good one. Whereas I'd be like, hey, watch Zodiac or Seven with me, and they'll be like, not my friends anymore. So, or especially Gone Girl, yeah, they won't have any friends. So, but yeah, I think that makes this movie kind of unique in that way, because yeah, Taken, John Wick, all that the go out, get the revenge, kill plot, and I like it, and it kind of puts it in like a in Fincher's universe. I feel like all of his movies could be related, right? All the movies have that same. I don't know if it's like a color palette. It's not necessarily blue, but it is like a blue, gray, darker color. Um, but this is a fun. I can't necessarily say spy caper, but it is one of those movies where I feel like a lot of people. I remember going to the Spy Museum, I think it's called, in Washington, and they're like, being a spy is not like James Bond. It's more like boring meetings and paperwork and not cool gadgets, but like you know, listening in on hours that are conversations and spy work and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably true. But like 007 is much more fun to watch, right? If it's like
I
spruced up a little bit.
uh
This one kind of felt a little bit more grounded. Like there's a
yeah,
scene where he's in the
just waiting a lot.
yeah, he's just waiting around, and then like someone comes to the door and he's like almost not ready, and he's ready to kill whoever
Oh
walks through that
yeah,
door.
that's
But
right.
then they just throw the mail in and they leave, and you're
That
like,
was
ooh,
so
it's a
good.
close call already. And you're like, did he not account for that? He should have been watching his exits. It's like, now I have more casualties on my hand. But then even getting away, he washes and rinses himself, make sure he has a very close shave so he doesn't leave like DNA follicles, and then he sprays down with pneumonia or bleach or whatever he's spraying down, like any DNA that
Did
leaves
you learn the
behind.
pneumonia thing from Boondock Saints? It's
Probably, yeah.
pneumonia.
It's I know. I was thinking it'd be
None of
so
this
great
stuff is
if
any good.
it'd be so
I
great
just
if you watch
rewatched that.
Willem Dafoe. Like, yeah, he's like trying to get DNA samples. None of this works.
I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Like,
Dude, that performance is amazing.
there's a firefight.
It's a firefight.
Oh, I love it. And then last thing, I enjoyed the
Are you going for
oh
five
shoot.
things now?
I
Take
know,
it
just
easy.
keep going. Well, I'm just getting all the good stuff. Do you guys?
Yeah.
So there were some funny things, right? So I mentioned earlier his quote, like with Popeye. I'm not. He reminds me so much of like a wannabe Tom Cruise from Michael Mann's Collateral.
I thought of that too.
Where
I did think
he's
of
saying
him.
all these statistics, like, oh, you know how many people are born every day? It's like
Yes.
contract killer like me. It's like inconsequential. I'm killing people, but like, who's to say like that person wouldn't have died anyway, or like whatever. Like he morally justifies anything.
I love
right?
that
Yeah.
scene because Cameron like said to me, he was like, "Nice justification."
Yeah,
It was just a crazy leap. I was like,
yeah,
so
right.
that makes it okay. Like,
right, yeah, exactly. And in his mind, like that's how he has to justify it, right? But
Yeah.
but I do find that interesting because again, sometimes you're like, oh, that's such a cynical way of looking at the world. But then you watch shows like with the anti-heroes. Dan Harmon loves anti-heroes with Rick and Morty and even Community. All these Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, like they had a Dexter. Again, you could go on and on, but like it was the era of anti-heroes, and this is kind of one where Killer is a classical anti-hero, but he's leaving that lifestyle, and it's kind of fun to watch him do that. That's not something that I'm trying to remember. Like it did make me think of Skyfall as well, where James Bond is coming to terms with his age, and then they don't address it in the next two movies. But just saying, did anyone think that odd? He's like, I'm getting old, and he made two more Bond movies, and they don't address his age at all. Anyway, I just think that's funny.
I also think
Yeah.
like, and what I wrote for my message for the film, on my letterbox review, is I talked about how invisibility is an attainable superpower. Because I just think that's cool that essentially he shows like the keys to becoming invisible.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because yeah, his more reprehensible things were at the beginning when he was doing yoga. You're like, oh, this is like Patrick Bateman, from freaking American Psycho, where
Mhm.
he's
Yeah.
like, listen to the Smiths, listen to music. You think he's kind of like this hipster, and he's like, when was my last quiet, nice drowning or something like that, right? And you're just like, oh my gosh, what a psycho, yeah. And that's the kind of ride you think you're in for, and then you're like, oh no, he's like a sentimental, passionate,
Killer.
romantic that's on his way to get revenge for the guys that hurt his girlfriend. It's just kind of funny that it changes like that. And then he also thinks that getting McDonald's is like a good source of protein. Like, what's wrong with this guy? I'm just saying, don't trust the McDonald's meat. It's cloned beef. Look this up. Cloned beef, dude. That's a real thing. Anyway,
I know.
Also, cheap
Yeah.
cloned beef.
It's just
cheap.
funny you say that and you
So,
still eat
I
there all
love
the
it.
time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I do it out of necessity. I've got 3 kids. I feel like I'm Jordan. I'm like this, and I'm like
My kids haven't eaten a long time. I'm
I'm
starving
drowning.
here.
No, but Jordan,
Oh yeah.
and
Silver Linings Playbook.
that's right. Anyway, so yeah, I go out of their necessity to feed my brat.
That
So I'm
song
like,
is killing me.
that song is literally killing me.
What?
Favorite.
What is?
That's my favorite line from Silver Linings Playbook.
Oh yeah. What
Turn
he's
that
saying.
off. That song is literally killing me.
That's right. In the waiting
But
room.
yeah, so very funny. There was definitely funny moments, not necessarily laugh out loud. I mean, there was definitely some. Like I love like humor with action. Like the whole fight scene that he has is like really entertaining. Because he seems bested, and it just keeps it kind of felt like Kill Bill, the hot poker, like, oh, just jamming a hot poker in someone's side. Yeah. So gross. And like at the end he's like walking through the bathroom, and you just hear like blood leaking out of it. It's disgusting. It's spattering all over the floor. You're like, ooh. Yeah, those hits hit hard, and he like throws him against the closet, the TV. It's just awesome. Like, I love that close when he shoves the couch again. Like, it's just so violent and so fast paced. I'm just like, dude, more movies like this. Like, what a cool set piece. Awesome action sequence. So very, very cool.
Definitely recommend.
Definitely recommend. And it kind of felt like Upgrade a little bit, where they do some cool camera tilts. Like, I've been seeing that more and more lately with the.
I think
love
it's
that.
Yeah.
fun.
Super fun.
Me too.
Also, Jordan, I just saw that you gave Django 4 stars. That's criminal.
Yeah, wait.
That is
Django Unchained?
criminal behavior. You're over here telling me our lists are so different, and you're over here giving Django and you said it's a top 3 Western for you, and you give it 4 stars.
Yeah. Westerns
Yeah,
are. I'm not obsessed with westerns like Ty.
I'm aware,
yeah,
but
Django
giving
Unchained,
Django
man.
4 stars is criminal behavior, bro.
I know. I'm debating. Maybe I'll bump it. We'll see.
He is a
Oh,
rambunctious fella, isn't he?
You push over.
Okay. Yeah, but anyway, you guys have anything last you want to throw out about The Killer?
Beautiful film. Wow.
Give
Master-
Michael Fassbender more more work. I don't know. I feel like I don't see him in enough stuff.
And we literally just saw him in 2 movies at the same
I know,
time.
but like I'm just saying, because like I feel like his biggest role ever is Magneto.
Yeah.
Like,
No, well, Inglorious, he played
a
like
small character.
That's
Like he was
pretty
he was
small.
barely in Inglorious, and like I'm telling you, Magneto's his biggest role.
It's pretty cool though that he gets like
Well, he was the
he's working with all these.
legendary Assassin's Creed, but so I'm glad he got to play it. And David
That
Fincher
movie is
play an
so
assassin
garbage.
and it
I watched that.
worked.
I watched that on a plane, and it wasn't even good on a plane, bro.
It's
He was-
exactly
I
what
was like, I'd
saying.
rather listen to the AC in this plane than finish this movie.
Yeah, he's a very good actor. I don't know. I know he does a lot of indie stuff, Cameron. Maybe you haven't seen him in a lot of stuff.
Well, I've seen him in like a decent. I'm just saying he doesn't get enough like big stuff. Like
For
the fact
sure.
that Magneto is his biggest role and probably like his worst. Like just.
I,
I mean, but
Magneto.
he had his
No,
run
he
with superheroes. Like that's the only movies now that are big. So
Don't worry, Cameron. If it makes you feel any better, like Marvel isn't a straight panic. They're gonna try to like introduce the X-Men, which I think they did at the end of Marvel's.
Probably. Yeah.
There's no
they did
excitement.
that. Oh,
But everyone's excited for Deadpool 3. At least I am. Like, I want to
Yeah.
see freaking
And they're bringing
Hugh
back
Jackman and Ryan Reynolds team up and do a buddy.
they're doing
cop.
that. Yes.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
They're doing
and Wolverine's
Deadpool
wearing
3.
his OG costume because I think it's a time travel where he's back where Wolverine's at the beginning of being Wolverine.
Yes,
Which
and
is
they're
funny,
like
because if it's
really
irreverent
good.
comedy, it'll be great. Like,
Well, and they're
because
really good friends. That's so
They're
funny.
really good friends.
Yeah.
Like they're
in
always
real
making
life,
fun
Hugh
of each
Jackman
other.
and Ryan
Oh, yeah.
Reynolds.
Yeah, like Hugh Jackman's always posting, like making
Have they
fun
been
of
in
Ryan
movies
Reynolds.
together? I'm trying to think. What else have they done? Have they done anything together?
I don't think so, but I'm just
I don't
saying.
think I've seen him. Obviously, the running joke, like he had his face taped on, his own face or whatever. At the end of
Yeah.
Deadpool 1.
They're just
Sexiest
always
Man
messing with
alive,
each
very
other. So
funny.
maybe they're
Yeah.
not like friends, but like bantering
Sure.
friends.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, I'm very excited, but because like that's like one movie I'll definitely go see. I don't even really care how good it is. I'm just like, yeah, it's not.
I mean, the
gonna be
first
like Miss
two were
Marvel.
fun.
Yeah,
Like,
the first
really
two were
fun.
were super fun, like
I love
like
them. And
entertainment
I'm weird.
movies.
I think I like the second one more than the first, and everyone's like, no way. Like the first was way better.
I think the
but-
first is slightly better.
Really? I'll have to
Yeah.
watch them again because I remember
both the
watching both of
same.
them. And I'm like, I was.
So I
wildly
watched
surprised how
them
good the
back to
second one was.
back,
Yeah.
like back to back nights.
Yeah.
But they're both really close. I think one for me is an 8, and then 2 is like a 7. Like they're
Yeah.
both still really
I'll
like
have to see it
enjoyable.
again. But yeah, so so that's like an example of something I'm excited about. And then if this does well, I feel like they could reamp like a grittier like the X-Men, like I don't know,
No.
Disney. I just
Dude,
hate it.
they
I
need to
hate
go
it, but I'm
up- they
just
need
saying
to go
Michael
R.
Fassbender.
Superheroes-
My whole point was Michael Fassbender will get some more work because he'll get recognized again because they're going to
If
bring back
if
him
superheroes
as
if
Magneto.
superheroes want to be saved, they have to go R. That's literally the only way. I'm telling you.
They
Ah,
have to all turn into the boys or Invincible, right?
no,
And-
because Cameron Birds of Prey and like
Was
no,
that
you know
R?
what I,
yeah.
you
That
know
was
what I found out?
PG-13.
Was
You know
it?
what I found out?
Mm.
They don't
pretty
have
sure
to go
PG-13.
bigger, Cameron, or go more graphic. They literally just need to scale it back and just do like more indie, personal, character-driven stories.
Or just
because-
like actually crazy
Yeah.
idea. Maybe actually write a script. Like that's I
Yeah,
know it's a
yeah,
crazy
you know?
idea, but like write a
and
script
and
that
not
isn't
by committee.
trash.
I'm so tired of like all the people in the room throwing stuff at the wall, and it's like, oh, what if our movie has all these things in it, and none of them are cohesive, and none of them matter, and yeah, so. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna go see Aquaman 2. Didn't see Flash. I didn't see Marvels. I didn't see like
I love how
Loki
little
season
Amber
2.
Heard is in the trailer. It's like a half a second.
But-
They're like, "Hey, she's in it,but
they write her
not
out
a
of
lot."
the movie. Yeah, they write her
But-
out of the movie.
But I do love James Gunn, so I might check us out. Oh, not James Gunn, sorry. Something Wan. What's
James
his name?
Wan, yeah,
James
yeah.
Wan. Yeah.
Jordan thinks all Jameses are the same.
All right, I'll give you that one. Sorry, that was funny. I'm not going to talk about Dream Scenario, but I am very excited to hear your thoughts.
Oh, you
I
saw
watched it. Yeah, it was only playing in one theater in
it?
Utah.
Is it worth the theater, the price of admission?
So everybody's like praising it. The only reason I'm not is because the trailer built it up like it was the whole movie is going to be like the first half. First half was what's that movie where
Everything,
in being
Everywhere
in
All at
John
Once.
inside being John Malkovich, like first
Yeah.
half is comedy, second half is just depressing, dark, sad.
Oh, there you
So
go.
I was not expecting that. So I just like, oh no, I don't want to be reminded about how horrible the world is. So kind of was not prepared for that mentally. So when I went in, because the first half, seriously, everybody in the theater was laughing so hard and everybody was loving every minute of it. And then by the end, it's silence and like, this is so dark and depressing.
Maybe
So
we should get like a replay. Jordan's like alone in the theater laughing, and he has like all these volleyball Wilsons or whatever.
Funny, right,
Jordan's like, right,
guys?
friends, right? This is the best. It's like the only one in the theater.
but yeah,
Just a
I,
bunch of Nick Cages around Jordan.
but Nick Cage, yes, his performance though, amazing, dude. That guy.
I do
but-
want to see it. Yeah, I still want to see it.
Ty, I just want to say really quick, I watched Little Miss Sunshine because it was in your top 100, and I was like, I'm gonna watch your guys's everything from
Yeah.
your top hundreds.
You never
Yeah.
seen it?
I watched the ending,
Tried it. Yeah,
and you know, it was really good. Yeah.
didn't make your top 100 though.
No, it won't make my top 100, but I do love
Oh.
it. I really do love it. It's
I love that movie. That is such a sweet.
Why
and
do you love
sad
that movie, Ty? Does that dysfunctional family remind you of our family?
Dude,
what's
it
up?
does, dude.
I think the
dude,
dad
guys,
just
we-
reminds you of dad. He's just like, if you're not a
There's-
winner, you're a loser.
To be fair, Dad's never been that. Well,
I know.
Not always that cruel.
Just
But
in
no,
Ty's
there's-
head.
there's things, yeah, there's things you can take. I love that movie though. It's such a sweet film.
Yeah.
Just so perfectly
We'll eventually
dysfunctional.
have to review it. But
Absolutely.
um
I'm
Cameron,
glad
do
you
you want to
finally
go?
saw it though, that you hadn't seen it before.
Well,
anything else you've seen, Jordan?
Well, I mean, I saw a zillion movies. I just don't want to go through every single one because it'll take forever. But
Yeah, go through every single
I'll
one,
just
and then we're gonna do
I'll,
our Fincher list.
I'll crank them out really quick. As I rewatched 28 Days Later, masterpiece. Event Horizon, masterpiece. Conspiracy.
Masterpiece is a strong word. George just throwing that
Event
whole
Horizon, dude. All I still have the visual of Sam Neill's eyes sewn shut. I'll never forget that.
And then
Thank you. Event Horizon.
Conspiracy, not masterpiece, but an amazing movie. That was here when I got here.
Theory with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, he's flying.
I saw someone was watching that. I was like, "Who's watching?"
That's me. I watched it with my wife. And then Drive, masterpiece. Rewatch Super, masterpiece. I love Super so much. It's so dark.
Is that Rainn Wilson?
Rainn Wilson, yeah.
Yeah.
Rewatched Dan in Real Life because we watched Little Miss Sunshine. I'm like, man, I'm on a Steve Carell thing. He is so good. I love him. And then Wrath of Man. I think it's a masterpiece. I know you guys don't. And then
I think it's excellent. It's
a good movie.
It's like maybe top 200 for me.
Oh. And then the Boondock
Just because
Saints.
I don't think it's the best one because I'm not high.
It's easily
Clint Eastwood's son needs a little more work in being charismatic villain. That's all.
And then I watched Cobweb. I wish it wasn't a horror movie, Cameron, because the main villain, he's not a villain in this movie. It's a horror movie, but he's just the dad in it, and he is Homelander. He's so good. He's
Anthony
such
Starr's in it.
Was that the Red Letter Media movie?
Yeah, that was recommended by Red Letter Media.
I did want to see that movie as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really fun. But last half, it's a horror thing. So sorry, Cameron. But the first half, if you could just watch that first half, holy cow, he is a psycho dad. He's just like so creepy. You're like, you are evil. I don't care what they say.
Dude. If you want to talk about being typecast, I don't think he'll be the romantic lead in any movies anytime
yeah,
soon.
for real.
I'm okay. If he keeps doing horror movies, I would love that.
I would like to see him and Fassbender be in a movie together because I think they look so similar.
And I also watched another recommended movie by another YouTuber called Ravenous, which was a Bananas film. Enjoyed it. It's just
Bananas film.
It's just like it's got
Bananas.
It's got the guy from Memento, and and it's about the time with what's the colonial times? They got the old school guns.
Muskets.
Thank you. And he meets this guy in the forest, and the guy had been there for months or years, and so he turned into a cannibal.
Mondego.
Yeah. And
at least he lasted longer than everyone in the Cube too. So
and I know. And so he slowly is starting
to there for 10 hours and turn into cannibals.
Yeah. And so he slowly goes crazy. It's just kind of a interesting, fascinating movie. And then I rewatched Project X.
Dragged Across Concrete. I saw that watch too. You watched that?
No,
Project X.
Started it.
Interesing. What'd you think?
Well, I've seen it many times. This is a rewatch.
That's why I said, "What'd you think?" Rewatching. I said, "You rewatched it." And I said, "What do you think?" I'd already seen it before many times.
Which one?
Project X.
I didn't ask how many times you'd seen it. I asked what you thought.
Project X. Yeah, the party one.
I love it. It's a horrible movie, and I don't know, kids should never watch it, but it's I just love the music.
Remember the car and the in the oven. That's it. I never forget. And then the bouncy house at the end. Yeah.
I just love too when he gets out of the oven, he's punching everybody in the because they're all at his eye level. And
then his dad at the end, he's like, "Son, I didn't think you had it in you."
I know that makes me roll my eyes so hard.
He's
so
like,
dumb.
"Oh, you're grounded for life," but I didn't think you had it in you.
Yeah. All right, Cameron, what about you?
When
I watched Past Lives. Sorry, by the way.
That one looks interesting. The Korean one. Is it romantic?
What do you think, Jordan? Oh, I'm really interested to hear Past Lives. Your thoughts.
Is it romantic or is it just a drama?
Mainly drama.
Right? Drama.
Yeah. I feel like as a single person, maybe they connect more to the idea that because there's that worry oh, if I marry this person, I'll never, this path will take me down this path, and what if
all at once? Hey, in another life, I would have been happy to do taxes and do laundry with you. Love that.
Because
moment.
I just feel like it's like, how much time do you sit and think about that stuff? And the movie, it didn't show was it 15 years or whatever she had, 12 years with her husband, all the wonderful memories she had with him. And it kind of focused all that time on that one moment of what it could have been. And she was crying at the end. And I did feel for her, but at the same time, I'm like, all right, girl, like my wife would not be okay with me meeting up with somebody. And it just, yeah, anyways. So
Yeah.
I see. I think it's funny that you interpret like a totally different message than what I interpreted.
well, like I said, single.
Well, that's why oh my god, hammer at home, man. Because I think it's interesting because I totally take it as like it's showing that like there is no happy or right way. Like you can be happy in multiple different people. Like because I think that's what she comes to terms with. She's sad that she missed out on that opportunity, but she's still in a happy relationship. And
I
so
already
she's
saw white people do this in La La Land. I don't need to see a Korean version now.
Yeah, honestly, that's so funny. I was talking to because Cameron, I had a really long discussion with Todd about it, and it was really cool because there's a lot of fun stuff to discuss, and I did like that about it. But the same thing is, I was at the very end. She's like, "Oh, it kind of sounds like La La Land," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's why." I'm like, "It's literally La La Land."
Yeah, it's like Korean La La Land with better cinematography though, Ty.
Okay. And
Like-
no cringe-inducing first song or whatever.
Yeah, I like
musical
this one
number.
a lot better than La La Land. Yeah,
I hate that first musical number on the freeway.
me too. I couldn't get. It took me 3 times to get through it.
I wonder if we can get an edit of that movie where they cut that
No,
out. And
dude,
it just starts with him in traffic. That would have been
No,
perfect.
that's the perfect beginning to the movie.
No,
Yes,
it's not a perfect.
yes, because it's the perfect representation
Yo,
that
Cameron, I've seen the
life
movie
in
Whiplash.
LA is
That's
not.
in my top 100. That's a perfect beginning, dude. Freaking strumming, and he's like, "What do you?" I didn't say stop, and then he goes, "What are you doing?" Like I didn't say. Oh my gosh, it's so good, dude. I freaking love it. Schaefer, man.
Yeah, I've also been kind of cranking out a bunch of movies. I watched I haven't been on the pod in a sec, but I watched Incendies.
Oh yeah, Danny Villeneuve. Sad, dude.
Holy fudge. That movie's like if Old Boy was more twisted and more depressing. And I was like, didn't know it's possible.
I forgot we had 2 weeks.
Anything?
I'm not gonna even go through the second week. I have a whole other thing.
And then but I mean amazing. Like it's easy top 200 for me, maybe top 100. I don't know. It's just
dude,
I don't know if
Danny Villeneuve does.
I don't know if I ever want to
Yeah.
see it ever again. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, 1 + 1 = 1. I'm horrified. And then it's funny because I made a joke about that to Colton in the beginning of the movie, like halfway through. I was like, wouldn't it be crazy if this? And he was like, nah, there's no way. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrific. And then I watched Maelstrom because I've also been on that Denny grind. I only have one movie of his left. Jordan, I mean Jordan compared it to Enemy, which
real quick,
I know.
Now that you brought up Enemy, I just have to say this joke because I saw it the other day. It was like when you move to your girlfriend who lives in Australia, and it shows the ending where he walks in the room and there's a tarantula on the wall. He's like, when you live in Australia or you move to your girlfriend's in Australia. I don't know why I thought that was
funny.
so funny, but anyway, because having seen Enemy in
Yeah,
Australia. Anyway, sorry.
that's really funny.
That's so funny. When you move to your girlfriend's
No,
in
but
Australia.
Jordan compared it to Enemy, which I can see a lot of the similarities. I just feel like Enemy is Maelstrom but perfected. I just think like a lot of the things that come from Maelstrom, he just does a little bit better.
I just tried to say there was a lot of similarities. I think they're very different movies.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I just think it's like a better Enemy's a little bit better done, and then obviously it has the best actor of all time in it, so that kind of helps. Two of him actually.
I actually think
doesn't hurt.
The best two actors in that movie is Jake and Jake.
I actually told Cameron I kind of like the fact that Maelstrom is about a woman and her like side of everything because it was her going through like an abortion, and I just thought that was really cool.
Quick question. So didn't Nick Cage win the Academy Award for playing himself twice in that movie, right? Did he get 2
adaptation?
Just the one? Yeah, wasn't it?
No, of course he wouldn't get 2.
Why not?
Oh my gosh.
Did it have to be 2 actors? Because see, in Godfather Part 2, you had what's his face, Robert De Niro and Marlon Brando both win Academy Award. playing
because
the
he would have
same
had to win. He would have
character,
had to
younger
bet
and
best
older, and they
actor
both won.
and best
Yeah.
supporting actor because there's only one award for the actor.
Yeah.
Right.
So he would have had to win both. If he won both, then he would get both.
That would be something.
That would
Maybe
be
they should
impossible.
try
I don't
and
think
biased.
I don't
That
even
feels
know if
like
he,
a Tropic Thunder parody, though, where you're
he
like,
wasn't even nominated.
he's
I don't.
acting so hard. He's acting both in the main
He-
lead,
he-
and then he's acting as a supporting.
He might
lead.
have
I
been
love that.
nominated, Ty, but he did not. I don't think he won because I'm pretty sure he only won for the one where he
won
got
for
drunk,
Vegas, yeah,
Yeah.
or not leaving
Leaving
Las
a-
Vegas, yeah,
something like that.
the alcohol one, yeah. Okay, so then if he did get nominated, I still love the idea that
He
although
got 2
because
nominations.
but he was referencing his movie though, right? Wasn't that it? That movie was so weird. Adaptation, I don't remember it, but like
I love adaptation. I've
referencing-
seen it many times.
It's so weird. Or
So good.
he's doing Kaufman, right? Is that what it was, or something?
Yes.
Or
Oh.
Baumbach? What was it? Who was he?
You're
acting
getting
in?
to Napoleon, right, Cameron?
Yeah.
Dude, did you go
Okay.
see Napoleon?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
that's
both
right.
did.
You guys, yeah,
Yeah.
you guys both did. I don't really care if you spoil it, but like, worth seeing in the theater. Is it good? A spectacle?
Well, it's just history. So if you've ever heard a
Yeah.
story,
If you
I
like
wouldn't say
historical,
spoiler.
if you like historical pieces, it's a really well done historical piece.
Okay, right
I
on.
don't love historical pieces, so
Was it gratuitous in any way? I don't know. The trailer made me think. I was like,
well, like if you're talking about are you talking about wise? Because there's almost no. There's 3 scenes, but there's no. It's weird,
okay.
but like it's just because like he
he was a
when she,
ladies.
like,
Yeah, he was.
Which,
he
I mean,
was
makes
a
sense
bit
for
of
the
a ladies'
time.
man, actually. Yeah, that's what it was rumored. Yeah. So
yeah, he was a
I'm
whore.
glad to see Ridley Scott attention to detail. He's like, can't leave these stuff out, you know.
And then I showed Colton, my roommate, 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri, because his favorite director is Martin McDonough, and I was like,
3
fun
Billboards
time.
is so good. I can't
and
wait till we
he
talk about
loves
that.
he loves what's her name,
Frances McDormand.
yeah, she's also in my top 10 actresses. So I was like, bro, how have you not seen this movie? It's your favorite
Cameron,
director.
can you name 10 actresses?
Sorry, but I'm gotcha. Yeah.
I can't.
then
It's the chick from this. It's the chick from that.
I do that
my
with my wife
God.
all the time. She knows all these girl actresses, and I'm just like, I feel so bad. I'm like, who's that girl from this?
I know plenty of actresses. And then I watched Vertigo as well. I understand why it's like critically acclaimed. Because from my or like if I were to assume, it might have been like one of the first psychological thrillers ever. Because I feel like that's kind of like a new genre, because I feel like most of them were just like, oh, there's a killer, freaky, but this one was like kind of like messing with your mind, which I thought was cool. Man, the special effects do not hold up. I almost burst out laughing every time it would be his like head spinning. It's like, whoa, whoa. I was like, dude, this is like Looney Tunes vibes. I'm like, what the fudge is
movie is
going
What
on?
movie?
Vertigo.
Oh,
Oh, dude, love Vertigo. Good movie. Don't you
Yeah.
dare bad mouth it. Oh, that's Jimmy Stewart you're insulting there. That's my best in Jimmy Stewart.
But it was still
Cameron,
really
you
good.
need to kill yourself.
Like a solid it was a solid 8 out of 10 for me. Oh yeah, and then Billboards 3 Billboards was 9, Maelstrom was 7, and then Incendies was 9 as well.
Yeah, but how about that camera effect, Cameron? Whoa.
that was cool.
Um,
I thought that was
Dude,
dope.
Jaws did it. That movie did it. Great.
no, that is cool. But I'm talking about when it does like the colors and it's like his spinning head like falling. I'm like, my
It's a good gaslighting movie though.
also when spoiler, the girl like jumps out of the bell tower. That is so obviously fake body. It's so funny. I'm like, and that's the thing is I couldn't tell. I'm like, is it supposed to be fake because it is a fake body, or is it just like terrible stunt double vibes? Like I was like, I couldn't tell because later I was like, oh maybe I was like, I still don't think that was intentional.
Yeah.
I would way prefer that over a CGI. I'm sorry. I just would.
I know it's kind of
Yeah.
like the scene where Jimmy Stewart falls out the window in Rear Window, and you're like, that looked very.
Oh, I
strange.
love
Oh,
that
yeah.
shot. I love that shot.
Don't know what's going on.
And then I watched Shaolin Soccer, and I mean I'd already seen it before, but it's so freaking good. It's literally like Journey to the West except soccer, and it's so funny.
Dude, thank you for reminding me. See, I need to make a list. Journey to the West. I cannot let that movie die. I just need to be reminded of it always. That movie's so good.
The amount of people I've showed that opening scene to
The
is
opening scene's so good.
Oh,
it's
solid.
perfection.
It's almost like a separate movie. It's just like this perfect.
Yeah. So I gave, and that for me that's 8. And I watched Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Really fun. it's literally just
Guy
worse
Ritchie,
Snatch.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
literally just like, and it's so interesting like how it like spawned a genre that like I think that's why I think Guy Ritchie's perfected that genre of like I called it the interconnected mob comedy.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's so interesting how it's like all these different random people connected, and then it's like and there's a lot of humor throughout, and then it's like and then it to like the climax is just so many different people being involved, and it's like it's crazy how this person's trying to get that, and the dog has the dog, like, and so I
Kind of
just think it's
feels
really
like
fun.
an action comedy version of like of What's Up Doc in a way. Yeah, all the
Yeah,
big
yeah,
features
yeah,
coming together. Yeah,
yeah, or like
yeah.
an
His movies
Oscar.
feel like that. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, just kind of like how everyone's got a suitcase, you know. It's like, wait, what? And then watch Next Goal Wins. For me it's 7 out of 10. Like I thought it was really cool to see like it was such an interesting piece on kind of like a failed person's career, as well as also like the difficulty of being like a person. It was really interesting to see like how a community handled it, and I thought it was like a really cool message of like the best way to handle someone like a person is to just show love. And I just thought it was so cool like that the American Samoan people that was like their overwhelming message was they were just like, oh, like that, like they're just part of us, like we just love them no matter what they are. And I just think that's so cool. I felt like that was kind of the message. I just felt like the humor, I don't know, like Taika started it off as Jesus, and I was like, oh, it's about to be so funny. And I just felt like a lot of it was just like, I'm like, come on, Taika, like you're smarter and funnier than that. Like, I don't know. It just felt like a lot of cheap humor. And then I watched Napoleon with Jordan, which was it was good. I'm not a super big historical like buff, and so for me, I didn't like care too much. But it felt like honestly like Game of Thrones, like I said, Game of Thrones French
Is Joaquin
episode.
going for an Oscar, you think, or what? I guess will they let
I
him
didn't
win
think
after
Me and
so.
winning?
Jordan have very different opinions. I think they underutilized Joaquin. Jordan thinks
Yeah.
that he did just right.
Yeah.
Oh, he was
Yeah,
so
because
good.
the trailer, yeah, made me think like I'm more excited for like the whole dramatic. Because like I'll be honest, like all I know about Napoleon, French, short guy, womanizer,
He seemed
strategic,
like
good
he was
guy,
kind of having
plan.
fun too with it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
See,
I felt like
I
he
kind of like it
was.
when they, because to me, in my mind, I was hoping for like a There Will Be Blood for Daniel Day-Lewis for Joaquin Phoenix, where he gets to play
Yeah,
like
that's
a
I mean that's a pretty
cocky.
apt comparison, except your
No,
guy always
no,
takes
yeah.
it a step further.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's interesting, right? Like Joaquin Phoenix, yeah. Does Daniel Day-Lewis
It,
take it?
for me, like a comparison. For me, it's like a worse version. If it's like if Game of Thrones and Count of Monte Cristo had a baby and it wasn't as good. That was what it was for me.
Yeah.
Because it kind of had that like that era and like that like the jealousy and like the politics kind of vibe of Count of Monte Cristo. And I mean Count of Monte Cristo. I mean Napoleon's in Count of Monte Cristo, so because he's the one that gives him the letter when he's in exile.
That's
I didn't even think
right.
about that.
Oh my gosh, Cameron's like this movie
It's
that
the
involves the actual character.
prequel.
He's like, I found some similarity. Oh, like
And
yeah,
I'm like, wait, that actually makes sense
that's
why
that
it feels
time
like that
period.
movie. He's actually in that movie. And then I watched American Beauty. I was really impressed, like because I've just been cranking out like the top 100. For me it was like 7 out of 10. I thought it was really fun seeing like at the moment he snapped and was kind of like, you know what, sometimes
Say his
like,
name, Cameron. Kevin Spacey.
you can cut this part out, Jordan. She's like, what were you doing? You know, I sometimes I want to
Yeah.
like I just love when I just think when he snaps and just kind of like realizes all the things he's just been like the psychological
it's a
term that me
tame
and mom
version
would
of
use is
falling
called
down.
like
Yeah,
it's
not
like
Michael
oblige
Douglas.
or rebellion. Like he's so sick of just obliging to everyone's needs that he just snaps and he just obliges to nobody and only does what he wants. And so
Cameron, have you ever seen Falling Down with Michael Douglas?
Mm-mm.
Recommend that one. That one's kind of like American Beauty, but
I
it's
think I've
definitely more
shown
entertaining.
Cameron at least a couple scenes from it. I know I
Yeah.
thought I have, or maybe it was just Ty.
I think Michael Douglas fires off a bazooka, Cameron, so you should definitely watch it. You want to
Oh
talk about
my
midlife
god.
crisis?
I don't think he
say,
does.
doesn't he? I don't know. There's explosives
Mm-mm.
or something. Oh, maybe it's just a gun. I don't remember.
There's lots of gunfight. Like there's lots of. It's just crazy. It's just.
It is crazy. It's over the top, but it's great. Michael Douglas
And
has had
then
enough, and he's just midlife crisis. It's great.
Showed Bruce Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, masterpiece. 5
Across the
10,
Spider-Verse,
10 out
the
of
second
10.
one?
Into he had seen
Oh,
Across
Into.
but hadn't seen Into, and I was like,
Oh
ooh.
man, so you like it more, or does he think that the second one's better because he's
I
seen
don't
the
know
first
because
one?
he said he really liked it though.
Yeah.
And then
First one was so good.
I watched American History X with Jordan. Holy fudge!
Oh, dude, yes. I just watched that movie too. Yeah, or
That's
just watched. I watched
it's
it earlier this week.
probably top 200 for me. I mean,
Edward Norton.
I would argue Edward Norton's best performance. Like I think better than Fight Club. Like I just think that movie was so like moving. I was like, oh my gosh, like
Wait, what's the movie? I don't want to spoil it. There's a Edward Norton movie where he's got dual personalities. You ever seen that one?
Fight Club?
No. Oh, that's so funny, dude. You're blowing my mind right now. 1 second. Okay,
I was like,
funny. No, but he's like on
the biggest twist in like cinema history.
Which is so funny because when you think about Edward Norton's film history, okay, his first movie, he plays a guy on trial that has split personalities, but now I have to find him. And literally, it's funny now watching that movie because you're like, oh, like,
but yeah,
how is that even a twist? They literally
for
used
me,
the actor with the thing.
it was so not what I was expecting. I was expecting the movie to be like, essentially like Edward Norton just like loving being a neo-Nazi, but it was so interesting to see that he's immortalized as a neo-Nazi, but doesn't want to be a neo-Nazi anymore because he's realized that he's like that those people are idiots. And I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting predicament to be in because now everyone hates you. It's like now the racist people hate you, and the people that you're racist towards hate you. You can't really win.
Yeah.
I think it's called Primal Fear, if I'm not mistaken. You guys see that? It's
I think that
1996.
sounds familiar.
3 years before Fight Club. Primal Fear. Oh wait, I clicked on Primal Fear and now it's bringing up
Identity.
Oh wait, oh yeah, it's like Identity, but it's a little more coherent and not as
crazy
bonkers.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's good. Oh, you know what? It's Usual Suspects meets Identity, I guess. Primal Fear. I recommend it, Cameron, if you liked. Well, I don't know why. I'm just on this Edward Norton kick right now, I guess. But yeah, I remember watching it. It's got the
gonna
name?
rewatch The Glass Onion, Ty.
Glass Onion. Gosh, that's funny you say. I always forget that he's in the movie. I forget everyone. The only person I remember being in that movie
is Edouard Blanc.
Is Daniel Craig, and then I guess Bautista was in it too, and Kate Hudson. But I always forget Norton's in it. Forgettable. What a snooze fest. And then
I also watched Casablanca, which we kind of talked about a little bit earlier. Solid 8 out of 10. Really enjoyable. I just think it's funny how many movies in the top 100 are about like Nazis, but I mean it makes sense because it's probably like the most like memorable event that's existed since like the creation of film. So like it kind of checks that a lot of people are going to talk about Hitler and Nazis because it's like, I mean, like a really important historical thing that's happened since the creation of film. But
well, if Netflix gets their hand on it, don't worry, it'll just be a matter of time before Adolf is played by a black person.
Oh my gosh, I think that's even more racist.
No, I know, but it's just funny. Like, anyway, there's a hilarious. Did you guys watch that video?
Yeah, we watched that. I did it.
Yeah, it's like, what's the problem with race swapping or whatever? And it just played like, it's like, here's a documentary on polar bears. And it's just like a bunch of black bears.
Yeah.
But like, one of my favorites was like Cleopatra. That was like a real life person, and they made Netflix made this special of Cleopatra as a black person. All these Egyptians sued Netflix because they're like, you're portraying our historical figure as a black woman when she in fact was Egyptian or whatever. But it's like, and you claim that this is like a what do you call it, documentary? PC. Yeah, it's just funny. Like, I'm like, they just can't help themselves. They're like, make it a black person.
Yeah. And then I watched Citizen Kane, extremely overrated.
Hey, stop it. It's a
overrated.
perfect film.
And then
I'm just gonna say the applause, dude.
It'd be a perfect film if I was born in 1932.
Dude, you know the Shia LaBeouf video where the paper machine Shia LaBeouf.
That's funny.
Shia LaBeouf stands up and he's clapping. That's Citizen Kane. I'm just saying. You don't have Shia LaBeouf memeable moments without.
And then I watched The Green Mile, extremely depressing. But like really excellent, like 8 out of 10 for me.
Dude, I almost cry watching
Citizen Kane's 4 out of 10 for me.
Watching Tom Hanks take a leak is like the saddest thing, dude.
Yeah. I'm like, man, whatever you got, don't give it to me, please.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that sounds awful.
And then I my biggest gripe with that movie, and I know me and Jordan talked a little bit about it, Stephen, just because it's Stephen King. Like, I just wish the paranormal wasn't there. I just think it would have been a little bit more impactful if it wasn't like, whoa, bugs coming out of my mouth. I was like, interesting.
Yeah, that's strange. Yeah, it
um
is weird. That is a weird movie. Like, I almost feel like it would be as timeless as Shawshank.
Yeah.
Because I always think
Yeah.
of Green Mile.
If it was
Like,
more
a great movie,
grounded,
and then you're
yeah.
like, but I would watch Shawshank over that one because
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no what the freak.
yeah, I was like
What
like
the
when he
freak?
I was like, is he and then he's
No,
like,
dude, he's curing him,
cured
Cameron.
me.
That's what
I
curing
know. I was
looks like.
oh, if a man that size with those muscles, I would yell for someone to shoot him.
What do we do? Shoot
Um,
him.
and then I watched
That's
V for
Sam Rockwell.
I watched
always
V for
forget, right?
I watched V for
Yeah.
Vendetta. It was really fun. Solid 8 out of 10. Like I can't believe it's a superhero movie.
Does that
It's-
movie hold up? Does the scene with Natalie Portman getting her head shaved go on forever? Because I remember being like, "This is the longest movie of all time." Watching Natalie Portman get her entire head shaved and then be like, "What is going on with this movie?"
Well, I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy
Just
the roles
lag.
that she's famous for are like so like her not like so like they're all her worst movies. Like Annihilation, this, and then like even what's the Leon the Professional? Like all these movies that she's so excellent in, like no one's heard of. I'm like, well, people have heard of V for Vendetta, obviously, but I'm
Black
saying,
Swan.
but when like all those movies, it's like you're like, oh yeah, Padme. It's like, yes, Padme.
Cameron, that's just you being a Z, dude. You're like, oh, Padme. No one thinks of her as Padme. I promise you that.
Everyone from my generation thinks of her as Padme. There's not a single person who's like, who?
No, they'll be like Black Swan. Yeah, I love it. Padme.
Yeah.
Black Swan.
Oh, Padme, and I'm like, yes, it's Padme. She's excellent in this movie.
Dude, if you're from my generation, man, you're thinking it's that one it's Natalie Portman. Have you seen that sketch she
SNL.
did? SNL. She's just super profane. It's so funny. She does a rap and it's actually really funny. And anyway, that was
And
like
then I-
my first
and then
time
I
seeing
watched-
Natalie Portman.
$1 Million Baby, also 8 out of 10. Extremely depressing.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
what's his name? Is one Clint Eastwood's one of my favorite directors. He's so excellent
I
at telling
don't-
stories.
that he and David Fincher, are they rewatchable, Cameron? You just said you watched it again. You've seen it before, or is this your
No,
first
I'd
time
never
watching
seen it. I'd
Yeah,
never seen
see,
it.
I liked it, Cameron.
Oh, he's very
also.
unrewatchable because of
I
how
will
depressing
never.
it is.
Yes, yeah. I will never see Mule. Was it Mule or Jewel? What was the one with the bomb?
Meal, yeah, and like because
bomb.
same thing with Gran Torino. Like it was
Yeah.
in my 100, and I
Yeah.
think it still is. And I don't know if I'll ever rewatch it.
I'll ever watch it. Yeah, yep, same thing.
Or that the flight one with
Oh yeah, Sully.
I won't watch
Sully,
that again.
yeah.
It was really, really good though. I
It was
loved it.
really
excellent,
good.
but yeah.
I've never watched it
Yikes.
again.
I'm not gonna watch it.
And then I also watched another depressing one, Life is Beautiful. 9
Oh
out
my
of 10
gosh!
for me.
Yes, that's the what's his face, the guy that won the Oscar and then made Pinocchio.
Principessa.
he got he won 2 Oscars and then he went on to win a Razzie for his role in Pinocchio. Because he made these movies and they're like, you can do no wrong. What movie do you want to do? He made a live action version of Pinocchio. It is the weirdest movie of all time. Like it's weird. Weird stuff. Anyway,
I personally like Schindler's
movie,
List better because I think it's just a different perspective because it's like the more optimistic, and I think it's also even drives home the message because there's not a single death on screen, which I think is really a really interesting creative choice. I think it's one more PG and more digestible for younger audiences, but I also think it probably represents better like what the world thought at the time. It's like he can't be killing all those people at the camps, can he? And it's just kind of like that idea where it's like kids are disappearing or like people are disappearing. You're like, they can't be dying, can they? Just because you're not seeing it, it almost makes it like you're just like blissfully ignorant because you're like, there's no way. And that's why I think it's more like Schindler's List when he's just doing target practice on those people. I'm like, that is one of the most horrifying scenes I've ever seen, and that's why I think it drives home the message just a little bit more for me personally. That's why I like it just a little bit better than
for sure. Yeah. And the ending scene brought you to tears, of course.
Yeah, but maybe some people want to like it. It's kind of like a memory of like these are what our ancestors went through, and some people don't like to focus on all that dark, gruesome.
That's understandable. Yeah, that's true. And oh my gosh,
I can see that. You know,
it's
like
so
Jeffrey
hard,
Dahmer
especially
movie keeps getting made every few years, and they're like, "Jeez, like, can we just let it go?" It's like this guy was a loser. They're like drugged men and ate their brains. Like, do we really need another?
Well,
movie
he
made
melted
about
their
it every year?
brains and dispose their bodies. You almost had it right.
Also, it's so sad when
Well, he
the
did a
fact
lot of things to their brain. Let's put it that way.
it's so sad in Life is Beautiful that, like, spoiler, obviously, when he's like looking at his son and he's like doing the jokingly walk and he's walking to his death, you're just like, oh my gosh, this is insane. This is an insane time in the world. And then watched The Great Dictator. The movie's garbage. It just, I don't know.
Is this the Sacha
physical
Baron
comedy.
Cohen, or is this the
No,
the mustache?
that one's just
one?
called Dictator. This one's The
Yeah.
Great Dictator.
Okay,
Yeah.
but is it the Charlie Chaplin one?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Charlie
Okay.
Chaplin. And I don't know. It's funny because I grew up on Three Stooges, love old Three Stooges, but Charlie Chaplin just doesn't do it for me. I've seen multiple of his like old films. I just don't think his
Did you
physical
watch
humor
The
is funny.
Child? That's a good one. I really like.
That's another one that's on somehow in the top 250.
It's
I'm
a
like,
good movie.
just
but
because it
is a
made people
silent
laugh
movie.
on silent films, I'm like, doesn't mean that it's an excellent movie. People are like, oh yeah. I'm like, okay, let's settle down. There's
Yeah.
actually funny comedies now. Yeah, but I mean, I can see how like
Don't even get me started. 80s comedy movies were like Stripes and like
Oh,
Revenge of the
yeah.
Nerds. It's like it was
One funny joke.
one
Yeah.
joke or two. The whole movie was based around this one joke, and you might get a chuckle out of it, and you're like, "That's your 80. That's your
bro,
comedy."
that was
You're like,
Beverly Hills Cop, bro.
right. And see, it's funny because I remember trying to watch that movie.
I enjoyed
I-
it.
I started that movie and I was like, oh, like yeah, this isn't for me. Like I was like, this is past the time
And then
I should have seen it.
And then also watched Mank. But I'm looking forward to, or I've also been watching a little bit of Korra, and
The
then
Avatar
yeah.
show. No.
and then Brighton, who's been on the podcast multiple times, really recommended to me the
Oh, we like
holdover.
Brighton. We like her more than you, Cameron. You want to bring her back on the podcast?
I know. I mean, we might have to because she recommended the holdovers, which looked like essentially like 2023.
Giamatti. I want to see
yeah,
that one.
I was
Breakfast
talking
Club.
about that.
And,
yeah.
and I asked her about that, and she was like, "Yeah, it's essentially like 2023 Breakfast Club." She says, "I think you'd
Yeah.
really like it." So
Yeah.
I'm excited to check that out because I mean, love Breakfast Club.
All right, Ty.
Dude, you guys put me to shame. I think I've watched like nothing. I watched the Onyx the
You have to
Fortuitous
remember that,
music video.
we
You
have
watched
zero-
the music video. Okay. I thought you watched their whole movie.
Wait,
What
they have
movie?
a whole movie?
He has a movie, yeah. The Onyx the Fortuitous, the guy that's like, I don't know. He made a
I don't
movie.
know. Watch Dogs look pretty cool.
And that was the best scene I just sent you.
I
That's
love
why.
it. Oh,
But
okay, 'cause I
there's
loved
some
that. It was
amazing
hilarious.
practical effects. Like he hired some amazing artists because there's some great, there's a really funny puppetry with this guy that's like a burger face and he's walking around. I mean, there's some moments. I wish I could just skip through and show you those. It may just
For
be one
sure.
you skim through.
I watched the music video though, and I was like, yeah, I was like, what is this gem? Like, I thought Onyx the Fortuitous was just this passing internet fat. Now he's making a full length movie. I love it.
Yeah.
Good.
I
for
hope he
him.
does more stuff because he definitely has like clearly is a fan of classic horror and he put a lot of the money into the good things. Maybe just if he had another script writer help him or something. Because
I don't
some
know.
of his
Maybe another
jokes are
scriptwriter.
great though. Like it's so funny. There's a scene where the bullies show up at his burger joint and they're like barking at him. Like I don't know why it made me laugh really hard. But
Like art of self defense. It's kind of like a weird
yeah, kind of
alpha
dark.
male thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take your chair now. Dude, we need to watch. Did we review Art of
We
Self Defense?
did,
Right?
yeah.
Okay. It's been a while, dude. That was a good movie. I've been
Oh,
watching The
yeah.
Curse with Nathan Fielder, Emma Stone, and Ben.
Oh, yeah.
Stiller.
I was
Oh my
watching that
gosh, I
too.
love it, dude. Who knew that Nathan Fielder could be such a great dramatic actor? Holy crap! Their fight at the end of episode 3, so freaking.
Oh, I haven't
good.
seen 3. Don't spoil.
Okay, so good. Watch the 3rd episode, dude. You need to watch it. So I can't wait for episode 4. I'm just dying.
Oh,
to
also
see
I've been watching
first
Invincible.
episode.
Invincible's
Oh, yeah,
insane.
Invincible.
Been
so
watching
good.
Invincible,
I
and then
love
I've been watching-
Invincible.
I know. And then I've been watching Rick and Morty season whatever 8. And
Is
it's
it any
fine.
good? Okay,
It's
because I
fine.
started it and I was like, oh, this is so fan servicey. I wanted to die.
Well, which is weird because I think it's the opposite of fan service. Well, maybe it is fan service.
No, it felt fan service. It was like, oh, remember
Yeah.
this character? Remember him? Remember
Yeah,
this character?
yeah.
I was like, oh, I don't
there's
care.
some of that, but there's also like even actual lore things that I feel like they did do. So I don't know if it's them caving or they're just like whatever. Like
I just
one
feel
for
like
you,
they're
one for
just
us.
giving
I just don't
yeah.
think they're funny anymore. I was like,
No,
it used to be funny, and now
no, it's just like, yeah, like I said, it's just like, oh yeah, this character. And then let's learn more about this character. And it's like, what happened to the creative, funny jokes and story? Like, I don't know. I just whatever.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah, I think that was the main thing it had going for it was the humor, and I think that's now gone. And
Yeah,
I'm
what happened to
like,
the
so
Purge
what are you
episode?
sticking around?
You're gonna flashback to 2 weeks ago when you were alive.
I know. I just don't think they're. I don't know. I could not
Yeah.
stand this new
I
season.
guess
I don't know if it's because
part of it,
Justin
part of it
Roiland's
is
not
the
there.
it's kind of hard because I feel like the shock value is worn off, and maybe that's part of the problem when you write a
Oh,
show
we're
like
numb.
this, where yeah, because again, I feel bad because I'm like, if Morty has been exposed to all this stuff, like, is he past therapy? You know, because like you're like he would be so shocked at the stuff he's seen. But there's some like really good deep moments too, which I think are missing. I don't think there's been any deep
Yeah.
in this new season.
No.
I've watched 6
Feels
episodes,
so
and so far
shallow.
none of them have any. Yeah, none of them have that gut punching. I remember getting like almost teary eyed in the first
Yeah.
season when he's like ready to kill himself. I'm like,
Mhm.
jeez Louise. And then there's been close moments to it, like I don't know, was the end of the Purge. There's even the end of like the Morty Citadel one or whatever. Rick Lantis, I think it was, mix up. That was a good one too. There's some like really good deep moments, but I just feel like that's been missing lately. So anyway, but I just thought
Agree.
that was interesting because again, they have what, like 10 more seasons to go. I mean, because the biggest contract in TV history, that's just incredible. And now you're like, where do you go from here? I feel like the show, I almost would like it if they just like totally trolled it, or I don't know, jump the shark. You know, you kind of have to, because you're like, where else do you go from here? That's part of the charm. You're like, it's independent universes, so just start with a new Rick and Morty. Like there was a good episode where Jerry and my favorite so far was one where Jerry and Jerry and there's like 2 episodes that are almost the same thing. People merge together. Beth and Morty merge in an episode, and Morty and Jerry, or sorry, not Morty, Rick and Jerry morph into somebody, which was really funny. So that was kind of funny, but like funny in a few gags, and then some of it wasn't. So, but yeah, so it's just weird to be watching Rick and Morty where I'm like no longer excited about it. I'm just kind of apathetic, and I'm like, it's on. It's 20 minutes. I'll watch it. Probably never rewatch because like I don't even remember last season.
Yeah, I feel like the
I-
last couple are just kind of
Yeah,
forgettable.
don't remember the last season. Don't remember this one. It's weird. Just not iconic. Like I still think of Meeseeks all the time. Like I think
Yeah.
it's
Oh, the first couple seasons, I
Yeah.
mean,
so
love.
yeah, so funny.
Amazing.
But anyway, so let's get into David Fincher. You want to talk about
right.
rewatchable?
We are now going to be ranking David Fincher's movies. Cameron. All right. First movie is Alien 3, his very first film.
It's D tier for me.
Anything you want to say about it, Cameron?
I'm just very surprised that it's a movie that David Fincher would direct. I just don't like the genre. I'm not a big sci-fi person, so that's the biggest reason why it is D tier for me. That's why I'm like, if someone loves sci-fi, it's like enjoyable. So the special effects don't hold up. It's pretty rough, but
No, I disagree. I'd say if you're talking about some of the computer animation does not hold up at the end, but the practical
the special
effects, yeah, the practical
yeah,
effects
so the
hold up.
special effects don't hold up.
I don't know.
Special effects qualifies as both practical and
Thank you.
CGI. Yeah.
All right, I'm not crazy. Thank you, Ty, for backing me up.
Still,
get
the
what you're
special
saying
effects
there.
don't hold up
Yeah.
super great.
No,
Like when you
'cause
watch The Thing, the puppeteering, sometimes it looks corny, but you're like, it's still more real and tangible.
and
Than
it still, in my opinion, still looks amazing. I think.
Mm.
Uh,
Again, are you talking about The Thing or Alien 3? Sorry.
talking about The Thing.
When did we get
Well-
to talking about the thing? What the
Cameron, are you in this family? Are you in this conversation? Cameron, second movie, Seven.
7? That's A tier for me.
I'm actually shocked you didn't think it was a masterpiece, but
Well, for me, it's just like the aspect of like the traumatizing aspect of it is just almost a little too much. Like the lack of rewatchability. See, I think Gone Girl is much more rewatchable.
oh my gosh, no.
Gone Girl is much more rewatchable than 7, just because like 7 is such a takes a toll on you, like emotionally and psychologically.
And Gone Girl doesn't. You're crazy.
Yeah, why doesn't Gone Girl mess
I
you
know.
up? I think Gone Girl messed me up way more than
Yeah,
Seven.
me too.
Well, see, for me, because a lot of it's like I would say a lot of it is more psychological, which I really enjoy, versus the other one is just more like gory, which I'm like, oh, like gory is more for me like I prefer psychological manipulation. over
Surprisingly, it's not that gory. Like,
7.
yeah,
The
I guess there's
lust scene?
enough. Yeah.
the lust scene, Jordan.
no, it's more of what he's talking about that messes you up. You don't actually see anything.
It does a fine line of show don't tell.
Yeah, and I'm telling you,
But
Cameron, half of it
it
is in
also
your
shows
brain.
restraint. Yeah,
Believe
it
me,
shows enough restraint.
it shows you enough stuff that makes you build up, like push 2 + 2 = 10. And you're like, my brain is gonna explode, like because of those imagery.
Okay, but even Sloth by himself was enough for me. That movie, I never like.
But that's not gory. He's just like,
it's disturbing.
He looks like a
what I
zombie.
said.
It is, but it's not gory. I'm just saying.
It's disturbing is what it is.
Because I recently listened to somebody talk about that movie and talk about how surprisingly restrained it is. Just saying.
To me, it's gory. So it's my opinion.
Crazy
Crazy enough, I'm allowed to have that opinion.
All right.
Yeah, we'll agree to meet in the middle. It's restrained excessive gore, right?
Yes.
Movie number 3, The Game.
The Game for me is probably also A tier. And The Game is much more depressing on the second viewing. First viewing, I was like, this is amazing. And like, it's still in my top 100 after the second viewing. But the first viewing, I was like, this is an amazing thriller. And then the second viewing is I was like, this is one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen. It's like, you killed yourself. Yay. Happy birthday. I was like, huh? Why are they clapping? He jumps to kill himself.
Number 4, Cameron, Fight Club.
This one I know I'll get a lot of hate for. It's just not my cup of tea. It's a B tier.
I'm not bothered by that. I think it's not as good on a rewatch. That first time like blew my mind.
I think I told Jordan this. I think if I watched it as an 18-year-old, I think it'd be one of the most revolutionary movies. And I think it would be like a perfect movie.
Yeah, next to Donnie Darko.
Cameron would have been like, yeah, I am Tyler Durden or whatever.
Yeah. but watching it as like a 23-year-old, I was just like,
Panic Room.
Panic Room, C tier for me. I just felt like the beginning had a lot of the the Fincherian artistic parts of it, but I felt like second half kind of lost a lot of the Fincher aspects, and it kind of just became like Die Hard.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of shocked like how low some of these movies are. I thought they were all gonna be like A and S. Huh?
Well, for me, all of this is like relative to David Fincher.
Okay.
Because I think like his worst movie would probably be a C or D tier.
Cameron, Zodiac. Let me guess. Wait. Let me guess. S.
He's gonna say a C.
Yeah. A B tier at best. No, yeah, that's S. That's my personal favorite film of all time.
As you would say, a masterpiece.
It is a masterpiece. It's a perfect film.
All right. Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Cameron.
It's not F tier, but it is D tier. It's just, I don't know. That's one that maybe down the line I'll give another shot at, but it's just so not my cup of tea. Which makes no sense that Brad Pitt and David Fincher isn't my cup of tea, but that just proves how crazy the story is. That I was like, "What the fudge am I watching, dude?"
That is weird. I don't think about David Fincher, nor do I think about Brad Pitt. When I think
Yeah, exactly. You're just like, it's just Benjamin Button. It's just weird.
Yeah, it's got your favorite. You're an actor in the top 10 and a director in your top 10.
It's my number 2 actor with my number.
That's what you call too much
director.
of a good thing, you know?
Yeah, for real.
Social Network.
Social Network for me is A tier.
What? Yeah, I'm sorry, Cameron, you're wrong.
Well, because see, for me, S tier is a 10 out of 10, and A is 9 out of 10.
I still don't know why it's not a 10 out of 10, but
yeah,
dude, watch that scene again, dude. No, anyway, this isn't my list. Keep
yeah. Don't worry, Ty, we'll get to you.
Yeah,
and then Cameron, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Okay. Inside of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, there is an S tier film, but the first act and the third act drag it down heavily, and for me, it's a B tier.
Oh my gosh, I can't.
What's this middle act? Yeah,
the middle act is like the whole kind of discovery of like who the girl is and like the whole side plot of the house. Like when he goes into the house and like that guy that like I thought that plot like that's Fincher at his best. Like I love those eerie and I just love his eerie dialogue.
That was the final act, yeah.
Like the final act's kind of like the girl and like the after effects of it, and I was kind of like,
oh yeah, her getting revenge.
And it's like, no, he doesn't want me anymore. I'm like, of course not. Look at yourself. Golly. Of course he's gonna choose the other girl.
You're not marriage material.
Yeah. And then the first part is just a little too traumatic for me. You know, just it is not super up my alley.
Gone Girl.
Gone Girl is S tier for me.
Oh my gosh.
And see, I was really nervous. It was one of those in my top 25 that I was nervous about rewatching because like I knew the twist, and then rewatching again, I'm like, oh, I don't like this movie because of the twist. I like this movie because of what's her name. She's like the creepiest serial killer, or just she's not a serial killer. She's just an amazing sociopath. Rosamund Pike, man, she is one of my favorite sociopaths I've ever seen in film.
Mank.
It's funny. I was talking to Jordan about this because I liked Mank better than Citizen Kane, but it's still a D tier for me. But both of them are extremely boring. But in my Letterboxd review, I talked about, I said somehow the making of a boring movie was somehow more intriguing than the boring movie. I was like, because I think Citizen Kane is the most overrated movie of all time. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Cameron's like, oh, tired plot, man. It's like it literally set the miles. I get it, Cameron. Like,
well, that's what I'm
watching a
saying.
movie
Like,
being like, it's the first one, and you're like, okay, great. You know,
yeah.
now
See,
we
that's what I'm
do
saying.
better.
Okay, if I watched it in 1940, I'd be like, holy, this is the best thing I've ever seen. But watching it in 2023, I'm like, this is Wolf of Wall Street in 1940. That's it. In my review, I said this is 1940s Jordan Belfort, and I was like, I've seen this before.
Dude, I love it, dude. Freaking. Okay, wait. Actually, I have a question. Casablanca or Citizen Kane? Which you like better?
So, Casablanca easily. Casablanca
Yeah.
is excellent. Like
Yeah.
I think it's like it's very similar to It's a Wonderful Life to me, where it's like it's like a easy to follow story, and like I would say maybe rewatchable, but then also still a great message. Like I still think it's cool that it's like
I think you and I are. This is the beginning of a very wonderful friendship. That was a good movie.
Yeah.
His last movie, Cameron, The Killer.
Still, I kind of it was border A for me, but it ended up being B. I think because like it's still an 8 or 9 out of 10 for me, but I just felt I felt like a little unsatisfied. I just wanted a little bit more, which maybe that is good job by him, but at the same time, like I just wish there was a tad bit more suspense, or just like a tad bit more like diving into his mind. Like I loved like the scenes with just hearing his thoughts. Like I thought those were really cool because I love getting into the mind of people. That's why I love like a lot of the things he did with like Mindhunter and stuff like that.
Man, our lists are so different. It's crazy. And then bonus round, we're gonna do his TV shows. Mindhunter.
Ooh. As a collective, or just the episodes that he directed?
I guess you kind of look at the body as a whole.
Yeah, because that's what we're doing with the movies. It's the body as a whole, because there's a lot that goes into the movie, not just David Fincher's directing.
Okay, I would say it's a strong B. It's borderline A. Like because I mean, it's essentially my favorite part of like my favorite genre is serial killers, and so it's essentially like my favorite part also of serial killer movies, which is like getting into their mind. But it was like, and so there was so many excellent. Stop me. It was really cool to see inside the mind of a lot of them, but at the same time, it was kind of like there was 1 or 2 episodes where I was like, I need to take a break. Because like he would just he would have a conversation with a serial killer, and the serial killer would just like talk about humans as if they're not humans. Like just talking about like what he did to us, and I was like,
listeners, Cameron's just coming face to the fact that he's like, I didn't find anything I disagreed with this. And I have a lot.
And then I realized that he was right.
He was right.
I'm agreeing a little too much with him. No, yeah, it was what he talked about. Like it was one of the serial killers talking about after he murdered his mom and like what he did to her, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. I was like, that's what's so interesting to me is I'm like, these people are borderline not human, and just like essentially the justifications in their own head and stuff like that, and like because of almost all of them like murder women, and it was just so interesting to hear like their parental problems and things like that.
Last one, his directed episode on Love, Death, and Robots.
Ooh. I mean, it's a little unfair because it's like a 23-minute episode to put it in A tier, but I mean, it is like it's a 20-minute A tier episode. Like it's an episode that you're like, can we get a mini series of this or something? Like this is.
Oh, I wanted more. I was just like, please, I could do a whole movie on this. So
it was like everything you wished from Pirates of the Caribbean in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was like besides the first movie of Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm like, this is literally like Pirates of the Caribbean 2, 3, 4, 5, all made into one 20-minute episode, but better.
So good. Solid list, Cameron, even though I disagree with you.
Don't worry, mine is going to be pretty quick because I haven't seen his entire filmography.
A tie and pretty quick in the same sentence. Yeah, keep dreaming.
I'm a little
Seriously.
scared to see the rest of his stuff because I'll be like,
Okay.
"Oh, Mink is his best work." I'll be like, "Yeah, I like Benjamin Button. These are
It's
rewatchable."
impossible for Mank to be his best.
It might
movie.
though. It might be for Ty. Cameron. Ty loves Citizen
Okay,
Kane.
Mank, I could potentially see. No, but if you say that about Benjamin Button, we can't be friends anymore.
It's a well-made movie. I wouldn't be against any of his movies being in anybody's high list because he's an amazing director. House
For
of
some reason,
Cards.
I'm kind of creeped out. Is there any creepy, gross kiss scene between Kate Blanchett being too old for young Brad Pitt?
No,
or
no. They're
too
only
young of Brad Pitt and too old of Kate.
they're
crossing each other in age.
no. They
That's
just
what I'm afraid of. They're gonna do like a creepy kiss. Where he's like,
honestly no. It becomes more of like when he's a baby
Child.
and she's like the mother, and then when he gets younger, it's like a sibling almost. I don't know.
Oh, Kate
Yes.
Blanchett is his mom.
No, I'm saying they're
It's like
lovers.
mother figure.
And Tyson apologized. He didn't watch. I gave him a month to
Thank you,
finish his
yes, a
movies,
month. And I was
and
like,
Ty
I got
did
it.
not.
I got it. Yeah, I was
I
like,
knew
I
you
got this.
wouldn't.
I can get the 3 movies. What do you need me to watch? Alien, Mink, and
Mink.
Benjamin Button, and I didn't watch any of it.
Clearly, he did not watch Mank.
Is it called Mink or Mink?
I was actually bummed that you didn't watch Mank because I was actually excited to hear your thoughts because you love Citizen Kane so much.
I
I
mean,
will
yeah, if
watch
you
the
like Citizen
movie.
Kane, you'll love
Yeah.
Mank because that
Yeah.
shit is somehow more intriguing
Well-
than movie itself.
We'll just have to finish Ty's ranking, one day.
Yeah, I'll give a caveat. Or
All right, so
hold my-
skipping Alien 3 because Ty hasn't watched it. 7.
Yeah. Wait, is Alien 3 his first movie? See,
Yep.
now that I find that really interesting, so I do want to go watch it. Okay, what was it? Panic Room? What's it?
7.
Oh, 7 was his second movie. Holy crap!
No, that's. I remember
is
telling
crazy.
Cameron
I
that
thought
too, and
Panic
Cameron's
Room
like,
was- yeah.
"What?"
That's
No.
interesting.
That's way later.
So
Especially to
7,
follow it up
holy
after
crap.
he
Dude,
makes
I think
Alien
7
3 and then he makes Fetching one of the best movies of all time. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I would say 7 is either A, if not S tier. I think it's a perfect film. Like,
Yep.
I think like all serial killer movies want to be 7.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where you're like, if you say it on paper, it's perfect. You're like, it's a serial killer that uses the 7 deadly sins or whatever. And you're just like, oh yeah, I'll watch that.
Yeah.
Like, if you like serial killers, you have to watch it. Like, you can't.
Oh,
say,
and
I like
the
serial
2
killers.
police officers are Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, let's not forget. And Gwyneth
Okay,
Paltrow is
man.
his wife. You're like, okay. And this is like 90s Gwyneth Paltrow, by the way. So anyway, peak powers.
And then the
Look at
kill,
it. What
and
a-
then
what a
the killer
cast. Am
is
I in
Kevin
a dream world?
Spacey.
How
Like,
did he nail
talking
this
about crazy
cast?
cast.
Alien 3 wasn't even a hit, so how did he get this movie made? They're
I
like,
don't know.
that's crazy. And mind you, I just want to mention while we're talking about 7, because I don't remember if we talked about it. We did 7 on the podcast already, right?
no.
Maybe not. Okay. The attention to detail. David Fincher actually had some poor person write all those diaries at the beginning when they're flipping through all those freaking disturbing journal entries. He had someone write all that stuff. Like they were like, we could just copy paste all this
Yeah.
stuff. And he's like, no, I want it handwritten. So someone like had to write all these disturbing
Some
writings
film
and-
intern's like, I'll do it, David.
I'll do
It's
David, yeah.
basically
and
no.
it's featured in the movie.
It's
yeah.
the Shining. Like some lady typed out every single one of those
Yeah.
pages.
Yeah.
All
Yeah. And you're like, maybe they faked it. Maybe like halfway through, but Stanley Kubrick went through it and he read all of them. He's like, all of them have Jack has a no void, right? He's like, you better have a stack of empty papers and just the top 3 are
get back
written
in
down."
there
He's
and type those papers.
like, yeah, keep typing.
What are the
And
Spider Verse people complaining about bad condition?
I'm gonna give it an S tier. I think 7 is like a perfect movie.
I agree.
Like, yeah. And
Uh,
it's
the-
horrifying too. What's in a box?
What's in a
Meaningful.
box?
Yeah, it's all the things.
The game.
The game, oh boy, I feel bad saying this. I think it's a C for me, guys. I'm sorry. I mean, it's entertaining as all get out. I love Michael Douglas, and I think like David Fincher, Michael Douglas team up needs to happen more
No,
often.
I seriously think
but-
some of his films though,
Yeah.
like are perfect on the first viewing because this is one of those movies like the first time you're like, holy crap.
Yeah, like I enjoy. It almost makes me think of like, but see, movies like The Man Who Knew Too Little remind me too much of The Game, where he's like, is this really happening? Is this all a dream?
Mm.
He thinks he's in a movie, but it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is real. It's like, no, it's all a game. It's like, eh.
Like
To me,
like I
it's just it's almost lessened. I almost like the story not being a game because yeah, at the end,
Mm.
Cameron, you're right. Everyone's like, "Happy birthday!" and you're like, "What the?" And they're like, "And who paid for all this?" Oh, I did. I paid for all this therapy. Thank you. Get out of here. Leave
All
me.
right.
I just tried to kill myself 5 minutes ago.
Five
Anyway.
Club.
Fight Club, dude. Okay, so we watched this in college the first time, right? That was the first time. I think me and you watched it
Yeah,
together, right?
that's
for the
right.
first
I
time?
did watch it with you.
I remember thinking like, oh, dude, like there were twists in it and turns, and I remember thinking I really liked it. I would say it's A tier, which is weird, just because yeah, like even in college, I remember thinking like, oh, this is a really good movie, but I know I definitely had the ending spoiled. But even knowing the ending before I watched it, like there was definitely a lot to enjoy about the film. So I'd still say it's an A tier, but yeah, it just doesn't ring.
It's gosh
There's-
dang Watch Mojo spoiling all endings.
I
They're
know,
like
dude, when we
top
were- yeah.
10 most crazy
Top-
endings, and you're like
top
watching them
crazy
all, and you're like,
endings.
oh
You're
crap, I
watching
just
it,
spoiled them all.
and like spoiler alert, we literally spoiled the whole ending.
The best movies of all time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Panic Room. See,
Panic
now
Room.
he makes Panic Room. Isn't that crazy? After 4.
I know, that's so trippy, because to me that just seems like a lower budget film. Like why? Like that's so odd. That
Is
just
that odd? Yeah.
it's blowing my mind right now. I liked Forrest Whitaker, Jodie Foster, Kristen Stewart's great in it. Everyone's acting great. It's got Jared Leto. an actor of a
Great by
generation.
Kristen Stewart. Let's settle down.
She's fine in it. She's a great
Yeah.
actor. She's better than she was a block of wood in Twilight series. So I'm
This
like,
is
she can
this
act.
this is
That
true.
is true. That
This
is
Yeah,
true.
so I'm like, she can act. You just need the right direction, right? So, I mean, Edward, it's freaking Robert Pattinson, my boy Robert Pattinson. He's a block of wood in that movie, and he can act. So, anyway,
Oh,
just
he's so
saying.
good.
Twilight, whoever directed that,
But you
They
know
could
who's
act together.
not Taylor Lautner? He's a hunk of wood.
yeah, they left him behind. Poor guy. They go on to be a big stars,
So,
and he's just left in the
What would
dust.
you give it, Ty?
Panic Room would either be a B or an A. It makes me think of the Hays Code just at the ending, where I'm
Wow.
like, I almost like a nod to Stanley Kubrick's The Killing, because I love that movie. But I almost
It does
wonder
feel
if-
like his Alfred Hitchcock film.
yeah, in a way it does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
what
it's
is
just
that?
it's like one room. It's almost like play vibes.
I have to say B plus. Oh, and there's some cool camera work in that movie too. I love it. So anyway,
Yeah.
It's so
Fincher messing
Fincher. It's so
around.
funny, like the
That-
go
that's-
through the floor.
Yeah, it's trippy
He
how they
started
did
doing
it,
that
like-
in Fight Club.
they had to digitally put in a banister and part of a chair to get, so like they actually used CGI to allow the camera move, because otherwise it just wouldn't have been physically possible to get it the way he wanted it. But he's like, I want it this way. They're just like, okay, man, I
He
guess you made
is-
7 and you made, Break. I guess you get what you want. But
Yeah,
this is the guy that made Alien 3.
I love how
What was Hollywood doing at this time? They're like, the guy made Alien 3 can make 7, can go on to make freaking. Anyway, I'm just.
it is just
saying.
funny how different our lists are. I did it A, you did B, and then Cameron did C. Just it's funny.
Okay, interesting.
And
yeah.
then Zodiac.
Zodiac. That's interesting. I think it was A tier. I almost think it's like close to a B tier now, which is unfortunate, because I do like the movie. But rewatching it, I remember being frustrated with it. But I know that's the point. It's infuriating. You're like, it's just. They don't
It's
have
just
a fax
funny to
machine. If they
hear
if
you
only
say
they
that
had
with
a fax
Cameron on the
machine,
pod.
we probably could have. Yeah, if the police department only had a fax machine, we probably could have cut the Zodiac.
Cameron's dying inside right now. This is great. I
I
love it.
am.
I know.
Ty's like, I was just frustrated that he got away with it. I'm like,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
I
why you
agree.
give it B tier? Like what?
There's two. I will say two perfect scenes. Are the Zodiac interrogation, the watch, the guy with the watch, and then of course the going to.
And
the,
even if I was the
not a lot of
Zodiac,
homes
I
in
wouldn't
California
tell
have a
you.
basement. Mine does. Click. Great. Perfect. Is there anyone else in the
I
house?
drew the posters.
Yeah,
Would you like to go check?
You know what that reminds me
Oh
of,
yeah,
Jordan?
I threw the
I
pies.
threw the pies from
Three
from
Stooges.
Three Stooges. I threw the pies.
right,
I love that. He's like, is there anyone upstairs? Would you like to go check?
I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
great.
how a normal human being responds to that question.
Great, dude.
So Ty, is it B plus or A?
It's a B plus, unfortunately for me. It's good.
Cameron.
Dang it. Yeah, that's weird though. Robert Downey Jr. is so good. Jake Gyllenhaal.
You didn't do
I-
Curious Case of Benjamin Button, right?
I have not seen Benjamin.
That's
Button,
fine, we'll
no.
skip it.
So
All
I
right,
will give it a
so-
solid B. Benjamin Button B.
No, you're gonna
Give it a
watch it
rating.
before you rate it. Social
Okay.
Network.
Oh my gosh. Do we even have to ask? Guys, this is my number 3 movie of all time. It is, or is it 2? No, it's number 3, right after Dark Knight and It's a Wonderful Life. It is a perfect movie. This is S tier. It's a bronze medalist of favorite movies of all time. What can I say? It's their time up here. It's our time down there.
It's
I don't
our
remember which
time
one.
down
Our time
here.
up here. It's their time down there.
Goonies. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Interesting. That's a punishing movie. I remember being like, oh, like, yeah, Cameron mentioned like the revenge she gets and what's enacted on her. Just great evil in that movie. And I just feel like that bogs it down. But
It's just
I
a great
can't
time.
knock it. Yeah, it's a great time.
An
I'd give
easy
it
watch
a-
with the fam.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Daniel
that's
Craig was
it was
so
so
good
funny,
in that
Ty.
movie, and the girl with the dragon tattoo, she was great too. So I'd give it.
Ty,
a
it's so
B.
funny because
B?
I mixed that up with leaning tiger, crouching tiger, leaning dragon.
Crouching
or
Tiger,
whatever.
Hidden Dragon.
Hidden Dragon, yeah. And I got that mixed up, and that's what I was saying. I was like, "Oh, mom, you love this movie." And it was the girl, and I kept saying the girl with the dragon tattoo, and Jordan's
Oh
like,
my
"She
gosh.
would not like
Yeah.
that movie." I'm like, "No, it's one of mom's favorite ever." And Jordan's like, I'm pretty sure it's not." And then I was like, "No,
We're
yeah,
just
it
like,
is." And then I was like,
Mom, right after she watches It's a Wonderful Life, we're gonna do a double feature of
Yeah.
Girl with the Dragon
"Girl with the
Tattoo
dragon
for Christmas
tattoo."
time.
I'm so glad you didn't accidentally watch that with her. Oh my
my
gosh,
God.
kill her.
Yeah, I give that one a B. 'Cause
Okay.
I feel bad. It's definitely not as memorable, but it's a good noir. But I feel like now I know the twist. I'll never forget
It's
it.
okay. I disagree. It's an S. Gone Girl.
Oh yeah, as for you, Gone Girl. I liked that one a lot. It's either a B or A. I'd give it an A probably. I remember liking it a lot. It was quotable. It was funny. I remember texting you after Jordan. I was like, dude, what the frig? You look guilty as sin. Like,
I know.
stupid Affleck smile. They got a perfect actor. I was so glad that he got Ben Affleck to do that role because it's one of those movies where I'm like, I almost feel like it's like, how do I say this? It's almost how we would like bully, but we kept him around. Love having him in our movies, but like it's almost like David Fincher was like, I can bully my star Ben Affleck, who's arguably like a bigger name, but he could like use him. I don't know. Does that make sense? Like that's incredible. So A tier for me for sure. Gone Girl. The movie's
Like I said, if you asked me after my first viewing, I'd have put it in A or S.
I'm
and
not
this is
asking
like
you
when
after
I
your
was
first
watching
viewing,
I was
bud.
watching Ozark at the time too, so this was like right in that dark blue color twist. She runs off. I'm like, I love this stuff. Like I was all for the anti-heroes.
The Killer.
The Killer, somewhere between B and A. I'll give it an A. Yeah, it's a good movie.
I'm still very curious
Some-
on
a little
rewatch.
simpler.
I'm wondering if it'll go up or down for both
Yeah,
of
I
us.
rewatched the fight scene. I watched that like 3 times. Loved it. I just kept watching that scene. So awesome.
There's this crazy thing, Jordan, that both of the things you've seen most recently are extremely high on your list.
And then
Jordan's
bonus,
got Panic Room and The Killer and S and A.
but that's a good sign because Panic Room was a rewatch. So and it was probably because watching it with you, Cameron, seriously elevated it so much because you were so into it. Like that made me enjoy it so much more. I'm just telling you.
Dude, Jared Leto's best performance, besides maybe Requiem for a Dream, but still hate that movie.
And your commentary seriously made me love it even more. So House of Cards, Ty. We're doing bonus round TV shows.
Gosh, I'd love to give that an S. I can't say that any 2 seasons of any TV show hooked me more than, I mean, it's up there with Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, but like, I never finished it, so it can't be S. It has to be A or B.
I don't know. I guess you can still like One Punch Man season 1. I'm just like S tier, perfect.
tier.
Season
if we're
2.
ranking okay, yeah, to be fair, but I'll just make that distinction. Like,
Yeah.
if I gave like the first 2 seasons a rating, I'd be like, that was perfect TV.
Yeah.
See, because
it
Ted,
was.
Ted Lasso season 1 is
Scandal, yeah,
S,
scandals,
season 2 is
politics,
A, and then season 3
murder.
is B or
Yeah.
C.
Serial kill, yeah, like a sociopathic man running for power and president.
So do you want to make the caveat and put it in S, or do you want to just say as a
I've just
whole?
made my distinction. Yeah, so first 2 seasons S tier, and I never finished the show, so it's somewhere between a B and an A, like a whole series as a whole. So
Where how do I can only put this in one spot, so where do you want it?
it's just do the B.
B. You went from S to B. What
Yeah,
just
that
Well,
was
it's
happened?
the first 2
crazy.
seasons. Like I can't rank in good conscience anything above a B if I didn't even finish it. Like Community, I would put that as tier, like first few seasons. Love that show. Never finished it.
I did.
Just dropped off
That
the
last
bandwagon.
season almost
Like
destroyed
Rick and
it.
Morty, I just dropped it. But see, like when I think of good TV shows, Better Call Saul never lags. It's a perfect show all the way throughout, and I watched it and I was gripped to the very end, and I wanted more. I couldn't care less what happened to the end of the House of Cards. I couldn't care what lesson happened to
Yeah, me neither. But
all the shows. I just don't care about them anymore. So it's
My-
unfortunate, but so it definitely.
you didn't
takes a
watch
hit.
Mindhunter, right?
I watched the first episode, maybe the
Oh.
first 2 episodes. And
Okay.
I remember
First
thinking
episode's
That was
directed by-
it was by David Fincher. I'll
directed
give
Fincher?
you that.
I liked the premise, but there was something off about it. I don't know if it was because we started Criminal Minds at the same time. I kind of fell off that bandwagon too, but I remember thinking like it wasn't necessarily episodic, but it did just feel like, I don't know, the dialogue, there was something about it that was so strange. And I guess that they intentionally, because the whole premise is like they this is before they like ever discovered serial killing, right? Like they're like, there's active crimes of passion and there's people that like get killed.
I actually liked it better on rewatch.
Yeah, I wonder if I could give that one another shot, because like I want to see True Detective before I watch this personally.
True
'Cause,
Detective.
like that's going through
Ty,
my mind. I'm like,
the
I'd rather
reason
watch
though
that.
I love Mindhunter now, Ty, is this one kid online. He posted the real footage next to David Fincher's. It's like identical.
Is it really? See, that's interesting. That makes me appreciate it more for
It's
sure.
insane. Like the
Yeah.
interviews and even the actors, it looks like the actual person, but like got a haircut. I'm like, this is literally
Interesting.
insane.
Yeah, his attention to detail, I think, is really fascinating. which makes Fincher
Disgusting.
kind of
And
It's
honestly,
scary.
I loved it even more after watch that. I'm like, okay, I like it more now. It's good.
Yeah.
So what do you rank it?
So yeah, first 2 episodes, I'd give it like a B, solid B. Like I enjoyed it. I think there's probably a lot more to unpack. I'd have to see more of it, but I am interested to see more, so I can't knock it any more than that. Yeah. So what was my lowest grade? Lowest C, right?
C was the game. Yeah.
The game. Yeah. Again, good movie. It's weird to say that because I'm like, dude, that like
Ty's putting a movie in my
It's great.
top 100 in C tier.
I love that you gave Zodiac a B. I'm sorry, Cameron.
What did you
As
give
Jordan's
Zodiac,
like,
Cameron?
it's a perfect film. It's S tier.
I give it an S.
Oh really? Oh, there you
yeah.
go.
If you had asked me, Ty, after the first time, I actually thought it was really boring and slow, but because I had read the book, and so I was like so excited and I overhyped it.
Yeah, I listened to the book too.
And then I watched it edited, and I'm like, ugh. And then I watched it unedited. I'm like, oh, it's better.
Take all the good
What'd you
parts,
take
whatever.
out when it's edited? Just
I don't
like the
remember.
horrifying stab scenes, because there's like no.
Yeah, maybe someone being stabbed in the back. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember. It basically
that
took
scene
out.
is horrifying. That's honestly probably
sad.
one of the most violent scenes I've ever seen in like cinema.
Yeah, it's so real. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
like,
it's way real. It's just like, oh my gosh, I'm actually
and
seeing
being so
someone get
helpless.
stabbed.
Like I can't recall the last time I've seen something like that. Someone that helpless being stabbed in front of a victim. It's so sad. And again, based off the real killer. And so it just was infuriating watching it again, because you're like, my goodness,
how did this get away with this?
Is it just based on the fact that this police department couldn't get a fax machine that the Zodiac got away? Is that literally what the fate of California hinged on? Is just
his smartest thing was taking credits for crimes he didn't do. That's so genius, because it's like no one's gonna come out and say, actually, I did that crime.
Okay, so starting off with his first film, Alien 3. I know it's not a masterpiece, but I do love it still. And so I'm going to rank it on B, because it's just especially that first half. I love the first half. It's like set up like a perfect Alien movie, and then that ending is kind of a jumbled mess. Cameron and I kind
Is there such thing? Is there such thing as a perfect or what'd you say?
Alien movie?
Yeah.
Yes, the first one's a masterpiece. Second one is another masterpiece. Third one, it was almost set up to be one, and then I could tell the studios. I mean, I've seen, the behind the scenes and stuff. You could just see it in his face, like the defeat. It's so sad. And then 7, I love 7. Holy cow. Actually, I think it's different on rewatch, because that first time I like loved the connection between the cops, but now on rewatch, like I love it for other reasons. It's just like,
what do you love on rewatch? I'm curious.
Well, on rewatch, it's like, I just love Fincher. Everything he does, you're just like, this man is a master at the craft. It's amazing, because this is like only his second film, and yet you're like, it feels like he's been doing this forever. Yeah, because he is so good at what he does. Crap, I'm like, should I put it in S tier? It might be an S minus, but A plus. I'm gonna keep it in the S for now. I might move it. Let's see. And then The Game. This is the only one I agree with Cameron. It's not as good as it is the first time. The first time is like really fun. I still enjoy it.
That first watch is insane.
The first watch, I'm like, holy crap, this is crazy. It's dark, because I think it was one of the first Fincher movies I watched, and I was like, holy crap, this movie's dark.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess maybe it was like the middle of the Fincher movies that I watched.
Yeah, it was the first one. So I just was not accustomed to his dark universe. So I was like, man, these movies are evil.
I mean, any movie that's the people are applauding after you just jumped from a building to kill yourself.
As right now it's B minus, might be C plus, but so I'll leave it in B. And then Fight Club, guys, I'm really, really sorry. Like Cameron said, not going to be a popular opinion. If you had asked me after the first time I watched it, I'd probably be like, S tier, this is a masterpiece. Like it shook my world. I was talking about it in college essays. I was like, this is the most, like, my mind was opened. I like the quote where he says, your things start running you or owning you or something like that. Do you own your things or do they own you? And I was just like, I felt like I was awakened, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like mind.
I was like, I'm gonna sell everything I own.
But and I love the pacing of it too, because I just like everything was so quick. But the more older I get, I actually like his slower paced films better. So I'm really sorry about this, but it's a C plus. Don't hate me. Panic Room. Sorry, Cameron, but it's a perfect B film. But after rewatching it with you though, I like had such a blast watching it. I might have to
put it in
I'm
tier.
putting it in A minus. Yes.
Putting Fight Club in C plus and Panic Room in A tier is actually insane.
It's A minus. All right, take it easy. Zodiac is, yes, it's a masterpiece. I know. I can't fight Cameron on this one. It is. There's nothing wrong with it. And the older I get and the more I watch it, I'm just like, yeah, it's a perfect movie.
It is.
And then I read the book,
Which is funny because it's funny that you mentioned like that you like his slower films, because I think that's borderline one of his, if not his slowest film.
I know you say that, and I would agreed with you after the first time watching it, but now when I watch it, I'm like, this movie flies, and I don't know why. It's probably because I'm focused on his storytelling ability, and it just feels like it's flowing. And then Curious Case of Benjamin Button, I'm sorry, it's a C. I did enjoy it. It was fun. It's just not a rewatchable, and I like to rewatch movies, so sorry. And I also have a problem with de-aging. It drives me nuts. I just can't stand de-aging technology. Okay,
But they aged him up too, though. It's not just the de-aging.
you're right. Sorry, age and de-age.
It's both.
Both.
It's the worst of both.
They did both of them wrong.
Yeah, he literally looks like
How-
the Voldemort under the train in Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2. It's that. That's how he is as a child. Horrific.
Can we just explain how is it that in Saving Private Ryan, Matt Damon is under that makeup and he looks like a real old person? Like, get that makeup artist. He needs to be the last makeup artist that we ever need, because save that person. That is the most real looking old person I've ever seen, and that is real Matt Damon under it. That's amazing. I'm just saying, why do we spend time with this de-aging
That's a good
stuff?
point. That was really well done. Yeah,
It's amazing.
I know.
I look at it, I'm like, that is impeccable.
Oh, and well, they use the same one. I think Christopher Nolan noticed that, and he did that in his Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive with Oppenheimer too, I will
Yeah,
say. Yeah,
they
did a good job.
because they did actual makeup. I was like, okay, like Christopher Nolan's more practical. David Fincher is actually, I've been
And
impressed
Cillian
that
Murphy
he's.
did real cigarettes. So
I'm.
that's
Hey, what about Harry Potter 7 Part 2 at the last scene? Those old.
oh my word. Yeah. You want to talk about nightmarish, dude. I remember we're all like, oh, Ginny,
Ginny?
Ron, let herself go. But we're like, Hermione's still got it going on. Nice. work.
Yeah, I'm like, how's Hermione still look like a model? And then Ginny's like,
Harry looked awful too. Yeah. Ginny
I was
looked
like,
awful.
wow.
Ron's
Oh
big
my
fat
gosh.
boy.
Okay, Social Network I have mentioned is a masterpiece. Obviously,
Oh.
it's got the best writer, best director,
and the most underrated performance is Andrew Garfield in that movie.
I don't think it's underrated. I think it's perfect.
Who underrated it? Yeah. It's perfect.
I
You mean he
feel
should've
like
won
it's
an
never
Oscar
talked
for it?
about when it's like best supporting actor. Like that's one of my favorite ever. Like
I think it goes to Justin Timberlake, right?
yeah, easily. Just get rid of the. It's cleaner. Facebook.
Make it Facebook. Like, I'm on the letterhead. You may want to check again.
Girl,
Seriously, what's the story about the chicken?
that was a good
Checking out.
impression. I'll give you that.
You're gonna be leaving now.
Girl,
I here's that check of $19,000. I wouldn't try to cash it though. It was on the account that you froze. So good,
Good.
dude. I like standing next to you, Sean. It makes you feel big. Oh, freaking love that movie so
so
much,
good.
dude.
Okay, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I don't think anybody's gonna agree with me here, but I think it's S tier. It's so good. I rewatched it. I'm like,
outrageous.
I love this movie. I'm like, it is. And then I watched the original foreign version, and I'm like, wow, David Fincher is one of the few I think him and Martin Scorsese are the only people that can like remake a
Yeah.
foreign film and make it better.
And make it better.
And not even make it better, but like practically a masterpiece. It's so freaking good.
Interesting.
Cameron's gonna obviously disagree with me here, but Gone Girl, I'm sorry, it's down there with Benjamin Button. It's a C.
That is the most outrageous activity I've ever heard. You put Panic Room above Gone Girl?
Gone Girl, if you asked me after my first viewing, I was like, same thing. It was like Fight Club. It was the first time I was like, holy crap, my mind is blown. This is the most craziest film I've ever seen in my life. I thought it was the coolest, greatest, everything. I just thought it was perfect. And then I
uncultured.
I rewatched it and I was like, I don't really know why I'm rewatching this. And then I rewatched it a third time and I was like, I don't like this movie anymore.
Next time he watches it, it'll be a D, Cameron. So you just be happy with the C.
I know,
Don't make him
Cameron, be happy
rewatch
with
it
the C.
anymore.
I was thinking about it. I'm like,
Make
man,
it-
I do want to move it down. I don't like it anymore. Because after you know the crazy cool twist, it's kind of like,
No, that's not the movie.
it is the movie.
It's not the movie. The movie is how insane of a sociopath she is, bro.
It's like the Usual Suspects. It's like all hinges on
Just be grateful
that
you
twist.
got your wife back. All right. Just be grateful your wife is back. Right. I love that one.
Okay, Mink. Okay, guys, I am so sorry about this. You know,
I'm so sorry
it
about
was
this.
it was well made. I get it was his dad that wrote it, so he was like directing it because he had to. But
Yeah, Jim Cummings, you're tripping for giving it 5 stars.
I
You're
know.
absolutely insane.
It's a D, and not because it's a bad movie.
B, that's crazy.
I said
you put it above
D.
Gone Girl. Okay.
I said D. And I
was about to end your life.
and it's not because it's honestly not a bad film. It's just like
Boring.
it's not for me. Okay. And then the lastly is The Killer. And as of this moment,
But still more interesting than Citizen Kane.
it'll probably change because I haven't been able to rewatch it. But it's S tier. I love it. I'm sorry. It's 10 out of 10. It's so good.
Recency bias.
I know. There's nothing wrong with it yet, though. I've yet to find something wrong with it. So
yeah, he put The Killer in S tier, and then Panic Room in A, and then he puts Gone Girl in D or C, and also Fight Club in C. What the fudge?
yeah, sorry. This is my list, Cameron, not yours.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, and I forgot to put the TV shows. Whoa, bonus round.
Whoa.
House of Cards, like the first couple seasons are masterpieces, but then by the end it kind of tapers off. So I'll give it an A+ because it's so good.
Tappers off? Isn't it tapers off?
Tapers? I don't know. I don't care.
Tapas off?
Mindhunter. This one I might agree with Cameron because there's certain things of it I'm like, holy crap, this is so good. And then there's other stuff like his relationship with the girl, which she's a whore. I just can't. I can't stand her.
Liar whore, and you know it.
She is literally the worst on the planet. I'm like, I hate your relationship.
She's bad as President Palmer's wife.
So it's a B+. It's really well made, honestly, but yeah, and I liked it actually even better on rewatch. So maybe I'll bump that up. The Love, Death, and Robots episode is amazing. It's an A. It's like, I mean,
so good.
I've seen it so
Have
many
you seen
times.
the episode, Ty?
No, I've been begging him to watch it. I text him
I have
so
many
much.
things. I have so many things I need to watch. Guys, this December is going to be awesome. I'll just say. I'll watch all 9 seasons of Game of Thrones.
That episode of Love, Death, and Robots though is A+. I mean, I'm deciding.
And it's only like 20 minutes.
S tier. Yeah, that's what I told Ty. I'm like, it's 20 minutes. You could give.
I need to see it. I'm excited to see it. Like I said, it's just one of those things where I forget to watch, and then I'm just on YouTube and I'm down a rabbit hole of a mix of movie reviews and
you do get YouTube is like a whirlpool.
Is digital heroin, just like that stupid Love Is Blind show.